What's up guys, Chaos Shinobi here. This is What If Naruto Has Demon Eyes. Summary: Naruto was informed by Kyuubi that due to him overusing his chakra, he received the demon eyes. Naruto in the following days changed, but Kyuubi has a sinister plan, one that would result in the bloodiest events in Konoha's history. Chapter 1: Receiving a Gift from a Demon. Naruto walked past Sasuke's bed without hesitation. Sakura's eyes fixed in Naruto. Was he really serious? Sakura thought. Sasuke merely glared at him, not believing his sudden outburst. He returned me back to Konoha and Sakura reacts like that before? No wonder he reached his breaking point. Flashback. Die Naruto, I wished you were never born. Naruto stared down at the ground and there was water droplets falling to the ground. You hurt Sasuke-kun and for that you should die. Sakura yelled again. You can have a fucking good life with your Sasuke while I rot in my own personal hell, Naruto shouted. Both Sakura's and Sasuke stared at him in shock. Naruto, Sasuke thought. Go have your own fun, Naruto shouted again. Naruto, never mind me. Go live your pathetic life with Sasuke. End flashback. Naruto's POV. I leapt through the window while raising his middle finger at, a somewhat stunned, Sasuke and Sakura. I made my way back to his apartment while I received some hateful looks from the village. I can't believe it. I brought back Sasuke and that is her way of saying thank you. Well, if I know that, then I would have killed the Uchiha. I trudged past Ikaraku's ramen stand without even thinking of eating. I walked to my apartment and opened the door to see my room thrashed with all sorts of things on the ground. There was some painful words written on the walls as I walked past and lay on my bed. I immediately found myself in a room with water up to my knees and a closed golden gate with a paper between the gate and written seal in capital letters. What the hell do you want? I shouted. Red chakra glowed on the other side of the gate and eyes and mouth began to form. I called you here to discuss an important matter. What is it? It appears that when you entered one tail form in the valley event, my chakra had corrupted your eyes and appeared to have changed them to demon eyes. Wait, you're saying that my eyes will become a demon-looking one? Yes, but they are the special gift to us. You see, when we look, we can see their movement before they attack. So it's like Sharingan. Yes, but there are something else. You can all around you from any distance you want and can sense a living form by seeing their chakra signature, but the most important thing is that the eyes show the best way of maneuver against the enemy. The eyes also improve the user's physical and mental power. It can give you access to my chakra more often. This also has all the abilities of all visual bloodline. The eyes also gives the user to use paralyzed jutsu and also gets a demon summon. Whoa, I did not see that coming. So I have the power similar to the Sharingan and Byakugan? Basically. Well, you have more control over my chakra when you receive the eyes. You can even enter 9 tails and never lose control. You have complete command over me, kid. You have the control to my power. By the way, you can see through other people's eyes and enter their subconsciousness and can place many demonic techniques on people. Well, when will I get this eyes? Well, about a few hours, but I have warning, kid. What? The change will be more painful than anything you ever felt. Wait, will my eyes be like that forever? Not if you learn to control it. Don't worry, kid. I'll teach how to control it, but in the meantime, don't see anyone. You got it. I immediately found myself lying on my bed. I sat up and groaned. What the Kyuubi told me rang through my head. The change will be more painful than anything you ever felt. I sighed and grabbed one of the instant ramen and started to cook it in the oven. This power must be almost unstoppable. If the Sharingan and Byakugan are powerful, imagine how powerful my demon eyes are going to be, I said to myself. I chuckled. I'll be able to reach my dreams with this. I grabbed the instant ramen and started to devour it. Demon eyes, huh? I threw away the empty cup and went to my bed. Chapter 2: The Secret of a Demon. Few hours later. I yelled as I grasped my eyes. The transformation was happening. The fox wasn't kidding. My eyes felt like they were being burned while they were connected to my head. I trudged to the bathroom and looked at the mirror. My eyes turned pure black and there was a red ring in the middle and inside of it was a red cross that was sharpened to the edge. I closed my eyes and yelled out in pain. I turned on the tap water and tried to water my eyes, but that only made it worse. I screamed at the top of my lungs and fell on the bathroom floor while the tap water was still on. I felt numb spreading across my body like a blanket covering a baby. My vision blurred and I felt something wet and hot just on the side of my left eye. I touched it and it sent pain through me. I looked at my fingers and I could tell immediately what it was. Blood. Sakura's POV. I stood on the bridge with Sasuke waiting for Naruto. He hadn't come to any mission since the incident at the hospital. I wondered what he was doing when Kakashi showed. Sorry I'm late, Ifu. You late again, I shouted. Kakashi looked at both at us and clearly he was wondering where Naruto was. Hey guys, we got no mission for the day, but goddamn did request something, Kakashi said. What is the request? Sasuke asked. We should check on Naruto. She's worried of him. That Dobi. Well, if that's the case, well, I'm not helping, Sasuke said as he walked off. Kakashi looked at me and I nodded. We walked over to Naruto's apartment and we reached the door when my feet felt wet. I looked down and water was seeping through the cracks on the door. I looked at Kakashi and he was wide-eyed. We burst in the room to find it flooded with water. I heard a noise from the bathroom. I went over there and found a gruesome discovery. There lying on the floor was Naruto and blood covered his face. Kakashi-sensei, I yelled and Kakashi came in and looked at Naruto. Come on, we got to take him to the hospital. Kakashi picked up Naruto's body and we sprinted to the hospital. We leapt through the town as fast as our legs could carry. We burst through the door of the hospital and nurses immediately came to us and placed Naruto on a bed and connected all sorts of machines. Put the fourth on his arms now. A nurse shouted to her fellow workers. They did what she told them and soon enough Naruto was wrapped in bandages. I sat down next to him, feeling guilty. I leaned close to his face and whispered, "I'm so sorry, Naruto," I whispered into his ears. Naruto's POV. "Damn you, Kyuubi!" I shouted. "What did I do wrong?" Kyuubi shouted back, "You should have at least told me properly. If you keep shouting on me then I won't teach you." I shut my mouth and Kyuubi chuckled a few seconds. "Alright, since you're unconscious and no one is here to see us, I'll train you but don't make me repeat myself." "No problem." A leaf ninpoofed into existence in front of me. I immediately drew my kunai and got into taijutsu stance. "Kit, this leaf won't attack you but it will feel pain you inflict it." I frowned at Kyuubi and put my kunai back at my pocket. "Alright, try focusing your eyes at the dummy's chakra points then strike at the main chakra center." I nodded and looked over at the dummy. I saw past the skin and flesh and saw the chakra points. I ran towards it and hit it at the chest. It fell to the ground. Useless. "Very well done. I didn't expect you to grasp it in a very short amount of time. By the way, your demon eyes have this jutsu. It is a genjutsu but it really is effective." "What is it?" "It's the nightmare jutsu. The user project to their brain their most deepest fear, does who have the will of fire can break it. So this is a scare jutsu." "Exactly. I'll teach that now but for when you're stuck study this scroll." Kyuubi tossed me a red and black scroll. "What is it?" "It's about the stage of the demon eyes. When you receive the eyes, your appearance on your tailed forms change automatically. Next time you enter one tailed form, you won't be the same one on the valley of end." I picked it up and put it on my back pocket. "Let me tell you something, Kit, you won't leave this subconsciousness until you completed your training, so the faster you master this the more time you can gobble down the ramen at the ramen stand." I looked at him in fear. "No ramen?" "No." Kyuubi started to laugh like a maniac and started roll around on his cell. "STFU." Kyuubi stopped and stared at me in confusion. "STFU?" I burst out laughing at Kyuubi's vocabulary. "Come on, Kit. I haven't been outside this cage in years and haven't even talked to my buddies so I don't know that." I started to roll on the ground and holding my side from the pain my laugh was inflicting. "Kid, you're hurting yourself. You laugh any longer you'll die from laughing." I laughed harder and tears were coming out of my eyes. "Kid, stop it, you're killing us right now." I just kept laughing and it was so funny. My vision blurred and I fell down. "Combake Tim too sturdy," Kyuubi said in a faraway voice. One thing went through my head. WTF did he say? I slowly opened my eyes to stare at four familiar walls. Great, at the hospital. I tried to sat up to but failed and noticed blue hair at my chest. "Hinata?" She awoke almost immediately after I called her name. This was a mistake. Not long of waking up, she quickly hugged me tightly. Hina, let and Naruto-kun I was so worried," she said while hugging me tighter. "Let go," I managed to say as my face turned blue. She let go and stared at me while playing with her fingers. "Sorry and Naruto-kun." "It's fine." She then stared directly back at my eyes and gasped. "What? Why your eyes, they're different." "Shit, I knew I should have stayed in that cage." "Listen Hinata, don't tell this to anyone. Promise me never to tell anyone about my eyes, okay?" Please." "Oh okay and Naruto-kun, thanks." I lied back down and took a rest. Normal POV. Unknown to Naruto, Kyuubi grinned evilly. With the demon eyes, his humanity is shredded away by the Shinigami. He will be no longer the annoying brat he was. Kyuubi laughed. The sinister laugh echoed through the cage. The sewer then turned to a burned forest and the cage bars was suddenly on a large rock nearby. Chapter 3. The Change of the Vessel. Naruto slowly opened his eyes. He felt different for sure. He stood up and walked to the cabinet. Opening it, he threw the orange jumpsuit on the garbage bin. Grabbing his wallet, he stormed outside and walked into the village. Not knowing the killer intent he released in his wake. Walking around the village, people were instantly panicking as he passed by. He went into a clothing store. The clerk, not knowing about Naruto's change, immediately yelled at him. Naruto stopped and turned to him with such cruel eyes that the clerk backed off. He walked over to the racks and found a red shirt with a black swirl on the back and the front picture Sasuke's clothes with red and a black swirl. He grabbed it and went over to the pants area. Finding the black shorts that passed his knees, he went to the clerk who was sweating bullets. "I'd like to buy this," Naruto said in a cruel manner. "Why, yes sir. How much?" The clerk looked at them once more and they were obviously 650 Ryo. 150 Ryo sir. Naruto paid for it and headed to his apartment. Finding some bandage wrap and some leg warmers, he made his own design. After shortly finishing it, he looked at himself in the mirror. The bandage wrap was wrapped around his forehands and also his shins. On the edge of its wrap, there was a red wrap around it. Picture Sasuke's leg warmers on Naruto's hand and shin with the blue part red. He then went to the bridge with Team 7. Sasuke was thinking about Naruto, somewhere along the lines of "Sorry of what I did, Dobi." Sakura was daydreaming and Kakashi, well, he was shocked to hear that Naruto had beaten him on being late. Several footsteps were heard and the team turned. Naruto slowly approached the team and the team was shocked that he disposed the orange jumpsuit. Many things were floating in Team 7 heads. "What happened to you, Dobi?" Sasuke thought. "What the hell does the dead last thinks he's doing wearing that? He's just showing off to the ladies." Sakura thought. "Minato-sensei, I have failed you." Kakashi thought. "What's with you, sensei?" Naruto asked, snapping Team 7 out of their thought. "Concerned about you being later than sensei," Sakura said in a rather rude voice. "Watch your voice, you freak of nature," Naruto replied. "What did you call me?" "I called you a freak of nature." "So what? So what? You'll pay for that." Sakura dashed towards Naruto and was about to punch him when Naruto did something unexpected. He punched her hard in the face. She stumbled backwards and fell down. "Don't you ever try that again," Naruto shouted. Team 7 was shocked. They expected him to take the punch but he punched back. "The hell do you think you're doing punching a girl? You do it to me every time, Sakura. It's only fair to give you some." Sakura looked down at her feet. Naruto turned to Kakashi. "What's the mission?" We have no mission today but we have to train." "Hold me." Team 7 looked at him in confusion. "I'm teleporting us there." They nodded and grabbed his arm. Demon Hellfire Transportation. Fire emerged from Naruto's leg and it consumed Team 7. The fire burned out leaving nothing. Team 7 training ground. Fire emerged from the ground and the fire grew large, then the fire burned out, revealing a very surprised Team 7, Naruto not included. "Naruto, where did you learn that?" "Training." "Naruto, this isn't natural for you. Your percentage of power is lower than this for to learn this." "My percentage of power is high enough. I have 200% power, which is break down to different things. 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain and 100% reason to remember my name." "Hey, the last one didn't count." "My name will be heard all over the land, the bringer of destruction or the leader of salvation of this pathetic planet, Naruto Uzumaki, the death god." "Prove it." "So, where is the power dead last?" "You're forgetting to fight me." Sakura frowned, losing the argument. Kakashi immediately attacked Naruto only to be kicked on the head. Sakura ran towards him and threw a punch. Naruto sidestepped and spun and kicked hard on her stomach and followed up to that with a punch to the face. Sakura blasted backwards and crashed onto a tree 20 meters from Naruto. "What are you waiting for, Uchiha?" The right moment. Naruto whirled around and Sasuke then started to punch him as fast as he can. Naruto blocked it with only one hand. Sasuke jumped over him and tried to kick Naruto while in the air. Naruto blocked it and grabbed his leg and started to spinning him wildly around through air and he let go. Sasuke crashed into a tree and looked at him. He hasn't even broken a sweat. Activating his Sharingan, he charged and started to try and follow his movement. Naruto closed his eyes and opened them again. His eye completely changed. They were completely black and had a red ring on them, and on the middle of the ring, a red shuriken-shaped pupil. "What the hell?" "Akuma Monako, disable," Naruto muttered. Sasuke's eyes were immediately returned back to normal. Much more, when he activated them, they were the same onyx eyes. "What the hell did you do?" "I disabled your Sharingan. I can't use them anymore?" "No, I just built a chakra barrier on your chakra connection to your eyes, disabling you, putting chakra into them, thus disabling you from using Sharingan. But don't worry, I can make the barrier disappear." Sasuke snarled and continued to fight him. Naruto dodged and weaved out of his attacks and countered attack. He pumped some chakra to his right hand and yelled as he punched Sasuke. "Akuma Tsume." Naruto's right hand was covered in red chakra and the chakra was molded into a fox claw. Sasuke felt like he was slashed in half and was burning to pieces. Sasuke blasted backwards with so much force that he broke the sound barrier. Sasuke was severely injured and Naruto wasn't even scratched. What the hell do Dobi? Naruto raised a brow, but it was soon interrupted by Sasuke yell. "Fire release, sunflower blast barrage." Sasuke yelled as he spat fire out at Naruto. "Akuma Shuheki," Naruto mumbled as red chakra spilled out of him and formed a barrier in front of Naruto. As soon as the fire touched the barrier, the fire extinguished. Sasuke eyes widen. Impossible. Smoke covered Naruto and it was hard for Sasuke to see what's happening. A large chakra spike emerged in front of Sasuke. The smoke cleared and Naruto stood there with something on his hand. There was a large circle on his fist and his knuckles and joints on his arm. They were all connected to each other and they were glowing red. You want power, Sasuke? Well, you have found the person with that kind of strength to beat Itachi, Naruto said in a demonic voice. Naruto, that's enough. Naruto turned around to see Tsunade, Jiraiya, Anbu, Rookie 9 and Kakashi with Sakura. The lines in his hands faded away, so did the demonic chakra. Just how powerful have you become? Jiraiya asked. I have 200% power, I break it to groups for you. 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain and 100% reason to remember the name Naruto Uzumaki, destined to become the death god of this pathetic planet. He threw a kunai in the ground and then went through a few seals. Demon Hellfire Transportation. Fire started to consume him and it started to climb up. Where you going? To review the damage on the Sasuke retrieval mission. I need time alone. With that, the fire consumed him and burned out. Just what happened to you? The thought echoed through everyone's head. Chapter 4. The Fox Meets the Cobra. With Naruto. Naruto walked through the pile of trees. He was thinking about the scroll about demonic eyes. He leapt up and sat on a tree when he heard a yell. He looked to a tree to find a bundle of red hair and a familiar face. Tuya, I presume? She looked at him and frowned. So the bastard managed to bring him back. What a happy story. The good guys win and evil is wiped out. Evil isn't always wiped out. Sometimes the good guys may turn bad. So you saying you going bad? Maybe, maybe not. You want my help, don't you? No, I don't, you bastard. Yes, you do. All you have to do is ask. Naruto walked over and was about to smash the tree to bits when she yelled. Would you just leave me alone? Don't you see I don't want your help? As you say, I shall leave to die. Naruto whirled around and was about to walk to the Valley of End when she asked. How powerful have become exactly? Last time I met you were pretty weak, but now your chakra signature is through the roof. My power is 200%. I break it to groups for you. 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain and 100% reason to remember the name Naruto Uzumaki, destined to become the death god of this pathetic planet. She smirked. Death god? Hey, you really amuse me, wimp. Naruto stiffened and whirled to her with his demon eyes activated. Don't call me wimp again. I've been through worse than you think, and how I managed to keep my sanity is a mystery to me and everyone around me. He walked over and lightly tapped the log on top of Tuya and the log immediately cut in half. There are more to me than meets the eye. He picked her up and has about to get them out of there when she yelled. No way, I'm coming to the village of the weak. I'll die in there. He stared at her and she responded right back by staring back at his black eyes. Trust me, I won't let them, I promise. She caught a glimpse of his true self and she immediately trusted him. He had the same eyes as her when it comes to emotion. Alright, fine. Hold still. He lifted her in piggy bank position and made a few seals. Demon Hellfire Transportation. They were soon consumed by fire and the fire burned out. Konoha. Tsunade was sitting at her desk, looking through her paperwork when a fire emerged from the front of her. The fire grew larger and the fire burned out. Standing there was Naruto holding the red-haired sound. Anbu. 20 Anbu appeared out of nowhere and was about to capture the sound nin when a large killer intent filled the room. Don't you dare touch her, she is my responsibility, not yours. The Godime was shocked. She didn't expect Naruto to act this, but he is known for the #1 surprising ninja. I'll take care of her. He turned to the Godime and he hardened his stare. I expect you to grant her to become a leaf nin or else. In a blink of an eye, all the Anbu were unconscious on the floor. Alright, fine, she can be a leaf nin. But she's your responsibility, meaning you have to find her a place and you have to supply her needs. Don't have to, she lives with me. Both Tuya and the Godime were on complete shock. He trusts me so much, and he did things to me that I was grateful. Maybe I can change like he said. Tuya thought, fine, she'll live with you but no pervert, Tsunade said when Naruto interrupted at her. I'm not Jiraiya Bachan. I won't touch her unless she tells me. Then it's settled. One more thing. What is it? Could you find a way to heal her legs? I know a way, but I'm not sure if she will be able to run anymore. Fine by me, Tuya said. I have a better idea. What? Give her some of my demonic chakra, but this one. She will become a Hanyo but no tails or fluffy ears. This will also give her the eye I made. But if I Biko, Tuya said, to be interrupted by Naruto. Don't worry, you'll become like me. I promise nothing wrong will happen. She softened and replied, thank you. He smiled back. This wasn't one of his fake smiles but a happy one. Alright, lie down on the chair. She did, and Naruto placed his hand on her forehead. You ready? Cause as soon as you get this power, You will suffer pain that you never knew existed. I'm born ready. He pushed chakra into her and she started to show the emotion of pain. She started to scream but Naruto hushed her right down. Don't worry, I'm here for you. She smiled before she passed out. Should be fine now. She will have the eyes a few hours later. Can I go now? Of course the Godime replied. Naruto picked her up and did a few seals and said, Demon Hellfire Transportation. The fire consumed them then burned out. Naruto's apartment. Fire emerged on the ground and it became bigger and it burned out, leaving Naruto and the Sound Nin. He was about to put her down when he sensed 3 chakra signature on the apartment. Lying her down carefully, he approached the chakra signature on the next room. He opened the door a crack and saw the Uchiha symbol on a shirt. Team 7. Damn not now. He activated his demon eyes and listened carefully. Why are we here in the first place? Sakura asked. We have to find what happened to Naruto. He's changed, Sasuke said. You are worried, aren't you? Kakashi said. Don't worry, Sakura. We'll find what happened to the old Naruto and bring him back, Sasuke said. Hearing a soft groan, he turned around and saw Tuya and was scratching the back of her hair. Watch, Naruto said as he put his finger against her lips. It was successful. We're on my apartment but my team is on the other room. Be quiet, Naruto said as he whipped around and listened again. Nodding, she did the same. Hey, what's that written on the table? Naruto froze. They can't see that. Grabbing Tuya bridal style he went through a few seals and said, Demon Hellfire Transportation. He started burn and they were transported to the next room. With Team 7, they were about to walk over to read the things engraved on the table when the room started to get very warm and the sound of fire ringed in their ears. They turned to see the fire burned out. There standing was Naruto and a red-haired girl. Sasuke immediately realized who the girl was and pointed to her. Why the hell do you have the Sound Nin in your hands? Sakura turned to look at Sasuke and then looked at Tuya. You are the one that kidnapped. She did not, Naruto yelled. They stiffened and tensed. Many things were on their heads. Naruto, I'll save like you saved me. I won't let you get controlled by this Sound Nin, Sasuke, though. I'll kill you, bleep, for stealing my Sasuke-kun. Sakura though. Naruto, did you join Orochimaru? If you did then I apologize to you, sensei. I couldn't save your son, Kakashi thought. Sasuke came on his own free will. Okay, Sakura? Naruto said as the Sound Nin nodded. Then what the hey? Sakura started when she was interrupted by Kakashi. Naruto turned to Kakashi and waited for what he was going to say. Did you join Orochimaru? Sasuke and Sakura's eyes widened and looked at Naruto in fear, hoping that their blonde friend didn't join the Snake Sanin. You did, didn't you? No he didn't, you, bleep. And the only thing you need to know is that he, bleep, going to take care of me. He already told the Godime and she agreed, Tuya said in a calm but cruel voice. Both Sasuke and Sakura's jaws dropped to the floor. Dobi? What the hell were you thinking? I tell you what I'm thinking, giving her a second chance, Naruto said. Why? Everyone deserves a second chance. Good, now please leave my apartment so me and Tuya can have a peaceful sleep. Sasuke and Sakura stared at him in confusion while Kakashi's eyes widened. You're too young for that, Naruto. I can't believe you referred to. I mean that we will sleep peacefully. Kakashi simply stared at him. Okay fine, no touchy, okay you two? I won't touch her unless she tells me. Good. Kakashi disappeared in a plume of smoke. Outside, Kakashi, Jiraiya and Suan stared at them with smiles in their faces. Looks like little boy is growing up, Kakashi said. When they grow up they won't need us anymore, Tsunade said while she was starting to shed a few tears. You know they like Minato and Kushina when they first met, Jiraiya said. Flashback. Minato walked alongside with Jiraiya as they walked across the Whirlpool village. They made a sharp left when Minato bumped against someone. Ouch, what the hell was that for? I'm a girl, boys don't hit girls. Minato started to apologize repeatedly. Sorry, I didn't see you there. You didn't see me? What am I? A ghost? A tick appeared on Minato's forehead and he replied, well you weren't looking. So next time don't yell at someone when it's your fault. My fault? You are the one not looking. What are blind? Am not. Am2. Am not. Am2. Jiraiya covered his ears as Minato's and Kushina's yells became louder and louder. Jiraiya sighed. This was going to be one long night. Chapter 5. Two souls collide. The fox sees a leech. With Naruto removing his lips with Tuya, she just stared at him. I knew that will calm you down, Naruto. They turned to see a very angry Sakura who was performing the big head no jutsu. Do you know you just stole her first kiss? Naruto frowned while Tuya touched her lips and promptly blushed. I wanted it anyway, Tuya muttered, resulting the ninja in the room to look at her. She wanted it, okay so leave her alone, Naruto said. Good. Naruto went to the kitchen before yelling at them. What do you guys want? I'll go and help him, Tuya said as she dashed after Naruto. Sasuke and Sakura stared at Naruto's former position then looked at each other. They grinned mischievously and tiptoed to Naruto's room. Outside, Jiraiya was immediately writing at his notepad while Kakashi was gawking at what just happened. Wah! They turned around to see Tsunade sobbing. "He grew up so fast," she commented. Kakashi and Jiraiya's sweat dropped. Suddenly a mischievous grin overcame Jiraiya's mouth. "Only one more step to mankind and that vow." Tsunade stopped and dashed towards Jiraiya and punched him into the orbit. "Don't you even refer to that." Naruto's kitchen. Naruto sat at his table with Sakura and Sasuke as Tuya put down the food. "Ramen," Tuya said. Naruto frowned and stared at the food and then at Tuya. "For your information, I hate ramen. Am I making myself clear?" Sasuke and Sakura gawked at Naruto. Hell must be freezing all over. Naruto Uzumaki turned down free ramen. A tick appeared on Tuya's forehead. "What did you say?" "I said I hate ramen." "Just eat it." Naruto took a bite and he immediately spat it out. "What the fuck?" She scratched her head and Team 7 sweat dropped. "Alright fine. It was good but remove the spice." Tuya stared at Naruto in surprise. Naruto sighed and went through a few seals. Demon Hellfire Transportation. He burst into flames and the fire burned out. Now where did he go now? With Naruto. A fire emerged into a small village, scaring the villagers half to death. The fire burned out and a tall blonde with whisker marks on his cheeks was seen. He was wearing a red shirt that had black swirl on the front and back. He was wearing black pants and had some self-designed arm and leg warmers. From the looks of things, he was a Genin of the Hidden Leaf. He walked past a few scared villagers and went over to the nearby shop. Now the only reason Naruto came here was because this was the only village that had a professional blacksmith that can make weapons for you. He was about to enter the shop when he heard a few rude names and a yell for help. Rushing to the alleyways, he found a redhead being picked on by some chunins of the village. "Die you evil bloodthirsty worm." Feeling the chakra signature around the girl, Naruto noticed there was something sealed on the girl. Apparently Kyuubi decided to comment on the situation. "Hey kid, she has the second-rate, try-hard, copycat." "What do you mean Q?" Naruto asked as Kyuubi was shocked that Naruto just shrugged off this new information that entered his mind. "She has the zero-tailed leech, or was it worm? WTF?" Naruto though as Kyuubi started to try to remember his name. "Kid, just save her." "Why? She is the same as you for your information." "Oh." Naruto subconsciously cursed and cleared his throat. The group of chunins turned around and sneered. "What? Could you please stop harming the girl? What are you gonna do about it?" A voice whispered behind him. Immediately the chunin was unconscious on the ground. "What the bleep?" a chunin yelled. "Now let me rephrase the question. Could you please stop harming the girl?" "Whatever, let's get out of here gang." The group of chunins vanished and Naruto picked up the girl. Did you help me?" "What? I saw a bunch of bullies and you were a victim, so I helped you up." Sorry." "It's okay. Hey, what's your name?" Amaru." "Well Amaru, why do you put up with that stuff?" "See cause people say that I'm a amo monster and said that I did deserve it." "Why listen to them if you know the truth?" What? You aren't the zero-tailed leech or worm, it's just sealed in you. You are not a monster." Is that true?" It. She went silent. That is before she leapt up and hugged the life out of Naruto. Naruto of course, was taken by surprise and was struck down. Thank you. If you want, you can live with me, I have a spare bed although Tuya was using it, and I'm the same as you." She froze and stared at those ocean blue eyes belonging only to one changed shinobi. She then has taken a spontaneous effect and hugged Naruto tighter. "Thank you. Well let's go home." Home Amaru thought as Naruto grabbed her arm gently and went through a few seals before saying Demon Hellfire Transportation. They vanished on the fire. Of course, same old Naruto never noticed they were holding hands. Chapter 6 Fox Boy Meets Fox Queen. A fire emerged on the Hokage's room as the blonde Hokage just had her sake. She blinked twice and peered curiously at the figure in the room. It was Naruto, holding another girl in his hand. "Naruto." She started but she didn't get to finish. "Hokage-sama, I found ourself the zero-tailed leech." Saying Tsunade was shocked was an understatement. "The zero-tailed leech?" "Yes, the one from the history books." Now, Amaru was not feeling too good. She was just taken away and now in front of the Hokage, she knew something was up with the shinobi. "She'll be staying with you in the meantime until we have a proper home for her," Tsunade said as a smirk found its way on her mouth. "I seriously gotta call Jiraiya for this. This will be a good plot for his story," she thought. Meanwhile, the duo were having their own thought. Is she insane? With her in the house, I'll be a cat fight for me. I hate Tsunade. Naruto thought. Me, live with him? This is a dream come true, Amaru said as she was wearing the infamous crimson face. Alright, let's take you home, Naruto said as he flipped past a few seals, then said Demon Hellfire Transportation. At Naruto's house, Tuya was having a conversation with two of Naruto's teammates but was soon interrupted by a fire emerging in the room. Tuya was smiling that until she noticed a girl with Naruto. She frowned, which soon turned to a full-blown anger. Sakura and Sasuke, knowing this, immediately sprang into action and grabbed Tuya's arm. Tuya was furious and rushed towards to the girl when she was stopped quickly. "Get off of me! Get off of him, yo!" She was interrupted quickly by Sakura stuffing an apple in her mouth. "Tuya, let me explain," Naruto said. Her reply was muffled thanks to the apple. "Okay, listen, after I left, I went to another village to collect my weapon. I asked for the village's blacksmith. When I heard her screaming for help, I decided to help her, and after bashing those nins, I asked her to come to Konoha and she agreed. When Nu arrived on the Hokage's office, she decided to bunk her with me," Naruto told him. "Is she insane? You only have 2 bedrooms, so yes, someone must allow another person to sleep at their bed." Outside, Tsunade, "You are a genius, this will be a good story, it should be called, Love Triangle of a Fox's Heart," Jiraiya said. "Why thank you, just change the title of course," Tsunade said. "By the way Jiraiya, no perverted stuff," she said again. Kakashi and Jiraiya was crying until that is a large amount of poof and a large badge of clouds. The Konoha 9 was there along with their sensei except Sakura and Sasuke and Naruto. Even Iruka and Konohamaru Corp and Anko was there. "What are you all doing here?" the blonde Hokage asked. "Well," Jiraiya said, "that there was a live love story here, so everyone came," replied Kurenai. "Where is the live story of love here?" Iruka said. "There," Jiraiya said as he pointed to Naruto's window with a perverted grin. With Naruto. After managing to calm down Tuya, they then began converse with each other. "Who is bunking with someone?" Tuya yelled. "Anyone here who would like to bunk with me or Tuya?" Naruto said in a bored tone. Amaru said. "Fine, Tuya, you are bunking with me while Amaru, you sleep on the other room." "Hell no!" Tuya and Amaru said in the same time, nearly bursting Naruto's eardrum. "Fine, which one of you will be bunking with me?" "I call a vote. The vote is between you two," Sasuke and Sakura, Naruto said. "Vote for Tuya?" Naruto said. None raised their hand. "Vote for Amaru?" Sasuke and Sakura raised their hand. "Well, fuck you," Tuya said as she stormed off to the other room. "Well guys, you guys have to go, we're hitting the haystack, so go," Naruto said. Sasuke and Sakura leapt through the window while saying their goodbyes. Naruto then led Amaru to his room and they both laid down, each person on different side of the bed. Not long after sleeping, Naruto found himself in front of Kyuubi's cage. Naruto sighed. "What now, Kyuubi?" Naruto asked. No response. "Kyuubi?" No response. "Kyuubi, stop it with the jokes, will ya?" No response. Naruto sighed and then approached the cage and went through the caged door. He was quickly tackled down by a redhead. "Hey? Who the hell are you?" Naruto asked cautiously. The girl frowned. She looked around Naruto's age. She had the blood-red hair in her eyes. They were slitted and pure red. She was wearing a black and red kimono. "Kit, seriously, you can't recognize me?" the girl said. "Wait, you mean?" "Yes, it's me, Kyuubi no Kitsune." "You're a girl? Why? Can't females meet a demon lord, or is it strictly men's only?" she said. Naruto shuddered. He knew where she was coming from here. "No, females can be a demon lord," Naruto said, regaining his composure from the shock. "A good boy." "Now what do you want, Kyuubi?" "Well, how do I put this?" Naruto blinked. "What is it?" You what?" "I accidentally broke some of the seal barriers." "And?" "Well, it puts me outside of you." "Wait, please repeat that." "Well, it allows to go outside of you." Naruto?" She blinked and then looked at him. He had a thinking posture. She had learned Naruto's body language. "This will only make matters worse. I only have." Kyuubi, knowing he was referring to the bed situation, quickly interrupted. "I could go back in you when we got to sleep?" "You could, but first we have to introduce you to the Hokage." "You mean the old hag that is really old?" "Yeah, like she could accept me." "We could fake everything about you." Kyuubi thought about it for a moment then agreed. "Well, good luck saying how you got a shock," Kyuubi said. "What?" "Nothing." Naruto was then forcibly removed from his subconsciousness. Naruto then woke up in the hospital surrounded by the Rookie 9 and Tuya and Amaru. "Don't you even dare go spasms on me, Blondie," Tuya said with a hint of concern. "What the hell happened anyway?" Naruto asked. "You know what happened, Naruto?" A soft but firm voice said behind the gang around Naruto's hospital bed. "Crap," Naruto muttered. A red-haired female, looking about around the age of Naruto, wearing a black kimono that had a red belt tightened across it. She walked through the crowd and tried to go to Naruto's bed when she was promptly stopped by the redhead duo and the blonde Hokage. "Who are you and what are you doing here?" the Hokage asked as she applied chakra to her arms, readily waiting for an attack at her surrogate son. "My name is not important. What is important is Naruto, to me, of course," the girl said as she continued to walk towards them. "Who are?" "Dang ITQ. Get back in your cage." A blonde shinobi yelled at her. "Oh, I know you want me out anyway." "Well, screw you." "Yeah, you go do that to your girl." Naruto blushed only for a second, but Q managed to catch it. "Ah, How cute, you really do fell for it hard Huckit. I hate you. And I love you too. Naruto then turned away, grumbling about why Q is out of her cage. The many people around Naruto were gobsmacked. Naruto knew this girl. Many villagers were woken up in the night by a loud yelling for help, a yell of a certain blonde shinobi's name. Many shinobi's laughter and a loud crash in the Hokage's office. So that's why Kyuubi here had attacked the village, Naruto explained. The Hokage had called a special meeting for this girl's explanation. So Madara Uchiha was responsible for the Kyuubi's attack? The Hokage asked. Yeah. Well, Naruto, I have a surprise for you. Huh? What would that be? Your father. Yes, was. Oh, stop it with the tension already, Kyuubi politely said. Fine Naruto, your father was the fourth Hokage. Naruto blinked in disbelief as the girls on his side, Tuya and Amaru, were shocked. So here Naruto, you have the keys for the Namikaze household, the Hokage said as she tossed some keys to Naruto. To her surprise was gone, along with the key, along with the girls. Maybe I overdid it a bit, she said. With Naruto, he lay down on the master bedroom on the second floor of the Namikaze house complex. Tuya decided to take the room to his right while Amaru took the room to his left. Both had some clothes which Naruto had to buy for them. Naruto trudged over to the fourth's cloak. He smiled. This was not one of his fake smiles but a true genuine smile. He grabbed another spare cloak, similar to his father's cloak, and began to work on his outfit. Gasp. You guys didn't expect that, did ya? Kyuubi's a female. Also, I need more suggestion from you fans to give me. I need more girls. To make it a bit more dramatic at least. The main pairings so far are Tuya, Fem Kyuubi, Amaru. And thanks to the Eclipse 64, I am now adding Kin. The next chapter will be the Chunin exam, so I better hurry up and type. Fem Kyuubi, you are such a slacker on stuff, you don't even care about your fans. Sky, fuck you. I do care about my fans. Naruto, yeah. Amaru, what have I told you about that, yelling Naruto. Chapter 7, Chunin exams. Naruto was currently making his costume he'd make, basing his design on his father's cloak. He had pretty much altered it a bit. Months had passed and everything was getting along quite well. Tuya, Amaru and QQ as Kyuubi's alias, obtained the rank of Jinan and was placed on a squad team called Team 64, and Naruto was then taken out of Team 7 and was put to Team 64. After hearing the news of Naruto's father, many Jounins demanded to be their Jounin leader, which of course was turned down by Tsunade. Instead, Tsunade made their Jounin leader Anko Muratashi, and Anko happily agreed. This of course, led to Naruto bleeding profusely on the ground and Anko licking on his blood after their intense training with their Jounin instructor. Anko was usually interrupted by the three other girls on Naruto's team. Tuya had some control over the demon eyes, but she was still an amateur. Q had the demon eyes herself, and Amaru, being the only one without special eyes, asked Q to have one. This asking turned to nagging until Q gave up and gave her one. Naruto glanced at his calendar and sighed. It was time for it again, and he had not even finished his clothes. The Chunin exams were approaching fast. It would be held again in a few weeks in Konoha once more. He shook his head and then put the clothes away and then walked outside to meet his ex-teammates. What are you guys doing here? Naruto, can we come in? Kakashi asked. Kakashi had changed after the announcement about Naruto being the fourth son. Sure, Hatake. Naruto no longer saw Kakashi as his sensei, for he had showed favoritism and that nearly costed Naruto's life. Naruto sat down on the couch, his muscles flexing. Yes, he is tense. Kakashi had somehow gotten from bad to worse. So Naruto, how's training? Naruto glared suspiciously at Kakashi, trying to find deception on his eyes. It's fine. Well, that's good. What do you want? What do you mean? You have a certain craving for something. It shows on your eyes. Naruto's demon eyes were activated. Naruto learned many jutsus that came with the demon eyes. One of his personal favorite is this jutsu. This jutsu allows the user to see what the opponent's wants, dreams, name, memories, knowledge, etc. It can even tell the user if the opponent is lying to them. Kakashi sighed. Alright, fine. I wanted to apologize for being the worst sensei on history to you. That's not it. Kakashi's eyes narrowed. You want to know how my jutsu so you can teach it to the Uchiha, don't you? Don't like Kakashi. My eye tells me when someone's lying. Yes. Then no, I won't tell you. Get out of my sight, Hatake. My father would be ashamed of what kind of sensei you became. Kakashi looked down and left the house. Naruto sighed. That was the 5th time Kakashi had visited, in a week. Naruto shook his head and went to the guest room. Team 64 had their meetings there rather than inside the Forest of Death. Naruto shuddered. He vaguely remembered what happened in the Forest of Death. Flashback. Naruto jumped through the trees, hoping to find a red sticker on a tree. Fuck, why did I agree to having the meetings here? Naruto had been leaping around the Forest of Death for 3 hours. 3 hours. You know how annoying that is. He had meant to meet his team 2 minutes ago. He leapt high, when he saw something smudged on a tree that he passed by. Naruto leapt back, it was a red sticker pointing to the ground. Naruto leapt down and landed on the ground with a thud. Activating his demon eyes, he searched around him, trying to find his teammates. Crap. Naruto then trudged across only to get hit on the forehead by a freaking kunai. Naruto stumbled backwards and rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding the jaws of a giant snake. Naruto was then struck down by 4 girls. Naruto puffed into smoke. All girls immediately knew what it was. Shadow clone. They heard a distant laugh and they took off by themselves onto the forest. It took Naruto 4 hours to find them and find the exit. End flashback. Naruto arrived in the guest room and sat down on the couch. For those who don't know, we have the Chu. We know about the Chunin exams except Naruto pointed out. This exam, if completed, can get you a Chunin headband. There are 3 parts to this exam. All them which will put you to the test. Beware, it is different from last year, Q said. Oh, well, this is the location of the first test, Anko said as she handed all 4 a map of Konoha. They nodded and grabbed the map. Alright, from the first exam, you're on your own, Anko said. They nodded again and Anko shunshined out of the house. After a few weeks, Naruto and his team walked over to the location of the first exam of the Chunin exam. Well, it says here that it is in level 4, room 672, Amuro said as she and the team walked up the stairs. They reached the first level but then Naruto stopped the group. Naruto saw many guards on the hallway, each had their weapons on their hand. Looks like we have to creep past these fools to get to the Chunin exams, Tuya said, bored out of her mind. I have a better idea, Naruto said as he went through a few seals as the girls grabbed his arms. Demon Hellfire Transportation, he said as fire appeared on his legs and consumed the demon. The fire burned out. Level 4, room 672. A fire emerged in the middle of the class, scaring most Shinon, and Ibiki was chuckling silently. The fire grew large then burned out, revealing Team 64, the most feared Shinon team since the Sand siblings. Show off, Ibiki whispered. Naruto looked around. He saw many Shinon teams around, standing. Guess Ibiki let some spare time. Team 64 headed to a table when Naruto stopped in his tracks when he passed by a blonde-haired Kumonin. The girl seemed to be just above Naruto's age. She had blonde hair in a ponytail. She had black long-sleeve shirt and the right-hand sleeve were short. She had a blue armband around her right wrist. The armband had a blue two-tailed cat design into it that had a background of blue flames. Her shirt design had a blue fired two-tailed cat was from her shoulder to her side stomach. Yellowish lighting was behind the cat, barely seeable but still there. She wore black pants that had 2 blue lines on the side. She wore an arm gauntlets on her right hand and she had a Kumo headband. Naruto and the girl turned and faced each other. Naruto's demon eyes activated while the girl's are colored blue and the pupil was slitted. You. They muttered at the same time. The girl then approached Naruto and leaned her head beside his. Good luck, Jinchuriki of the Kyubi no Kitsune, she whispered. Same to you, Jinchuriki of the Nibi no Baikoneko. Naruto sat down on a table next to his teammates and then Ibiki cleared his throat. Naruto took earplugs out of his pocket and handed to his team. Amuro, of course, didn't know what he meant about the earplug. You'll know sooner or later, her 3 teammates replied. Alright Buffins, my name is Ibiki and this is the first stage of Amuro inserted the earplug in her ears and nodded to Naruto. The Chunin exams, I will be handing out papers, each has 9 questions. You are to answer the question within an hour. If you decide to slack off and stare at the ceiling, Naruto's eyes narrowed. That was a code, Naruto thought. You'll be disqualified from the exams. Many Ibiki clones appeared and handed papers and pencil out. Start. Naruto closed his eyes for a minute and then opened it again, his demon eyes activated. Naruto then scratched his left ear, getting the attention of his team. He then twirled his finger in his hair. Now that's done, I need to see it. He scanned the room and found some code on the ceiling. He started to decipher it as fast as he can. Shit, Ibiki is coming this way. He stopped and then started to write some answers. As soon as Ibiki passed by, he activated his demon eyes again and then deciphered the code again. This process kept going until Naruto finished the test. Naruto turned his paper and then leaned on his seat, his arm behind his head and his legs on the table. He stared around the room and found that the blonde girl doing the same thing as him. Guess I'm not the only one that have the demon eyes, huh, Q? Naruto asked mentally. Q looked at him and stared at what he was staring. Yes, seems that she contains the Nibi, Q replied mentally. Naruto and Q managed to make a mental communication and gave the entire team the mental communication. Took you that long to notice? I noticed as soon as I entered, Tuya mentally said, joining in the question. Rived. Anyone know what's the answer to the number 7? Amuro asked mentally. A/N/. Alright, When the sentence has this, it means that it is mentally questioning. Okay. It's letter Atuya responded. What question is it? Q asked. You are holding a kunai at your right hand, your enemy is 5 meters to the right, your average throwing speed is 4.65, your enemy's speed is 5.34, what do? Amaru read out the question. Letter A for sure. Q and Tuya agreed at the same time. Alright. The hour is done. Each member of the team must have at least 10 points. Get any lower you fail. Team 1 paper. The leader of Team 1 gave him the paper. Fail. Team 2, fail. This kept going. Half of the class passed, the other half failed. Then, Team 64, Naruto grabbed all the paper and gave it to Aviki. Pass. Naruto scratched the back of his head and head back to the table. The main point of this test is code breaking. You have to be able to code break and find hidden codes on sentences. Most of the ninjas' eyes widened, but then they bowed their head in shame. Now you have to wait till the second exam instructor come here. Team 64 tensed. The Forest of Death. Alright, sorry if it is a little short, this chapter was going to be so long I decided to cut it. Okay? The Forest of Death. So please be patient. Okay? Anko, you better type fast, I want to join in already. Naruto backs away from Anko. Amaru, is she always like this? FemQ, yup. Ever since Sky started this story, she had been practically aching for him to add her in the story. To the fans. Sorry if I can't type at all, sorry if this chapter was so short, this is an replacement to make this at least longer. Okay. Welcome live to Shinobi channel. Tonight we are interviewing Team 64. A reporter named Koshi said. The fans made a Mexican wave and then everything settled. Alright, first up are Blonde Baka, the #1 most surprising ninja and the self-proclaimed future Hokage. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. The entire Naruto fan club yelled out and cheered. If anyone looked closely, they would have noticed a dark blue-haired Hyuga wearing a Naruto jumpsuit and carrying a Naruto plushie. Naruto walked out and sat down on one of the chairs and faced Koshi. Naruto was wearing a black long-sleeve shirt and on top of that was a red shirt that had a black swirl sign on the front. He had black ripped jeans and he had his earphones on around his neck and the line went down to his pockets. Alright, ask away, this is wasting my time. I need to act for the next chapter, Naruto said. Well Naruto, we have many questions. Let's start at a scandal that includes you and a certain snake mistress. A picture of Naruto and Anko kissing appeared on the screen and Naruto's right eyebrow twitched. That is a fake. I would never go out with Oldie. Alright, was the fourth your father? Yes, I'm a perfect copy of him. Is Pain your brother? Who the hell is Pain? Never mind. Koshi pressed a switch then the chair Naruto sat on collapsed. Naruto, knowing this, jumped out of the chair. Never try that again. Koshi sighed. Nearly got you that time. Nearly. Okay, Naruto, you have acted on so many chapters, so that means so many props were left behind. Have you ever wanted to keep one of the props? To be truthful, I already stole one of the props. It was the kunai, a very sharp one at that. Well, what kind of games do you have on your trailer? I have a pool table, PS2, PS3 and an Xbox 360. Cool. There has been a rumor of some kind, a spoiler to be exact, that a new character will be added to the crew. Have you considered this? Who do you mean? It's not Yugito or Kin but another one that will be added on a mission. Why? The door burst down and Sky threw a tennis ball at Koshi, who was hit right in the mouth. Interview time over, acting now. Chapter 8. Chunin Exams. Forest of Death. Naruto sat there bored until the windows broke and a sign dropped out of nowhere that said, "Welcome your second instructor for the exam, Anko Muratashi." Naruto, knowing Anko, shook his head while a smirk found its way on his mouth. Alright maggots, follow me. She leapt through the window while Team 64 burst into flames and flames burned out after a few minutes. Unknown to Naruto, a black-haired female that had a sound headband, this girl was wearing standard armor and had black hanbu pants. She had a white and black military scarf wrapped around her neck. Orochimaru would be so pleased when he gets your body, she thought as her team shunshine to the Forest of Death. At the Forest of Death. Fuck. How long are those rookies going to take? Tuya said as she leaned on Naruto's shoulder with her elbow. We are the #1 powerful Genin team, remember? Q replied. Hey, be patient, we may be powerful but we're not Chunin, Naruto said. Hey you blondie. A voice yelled behind him. Naruto turned to see a girl. She had long black hair and was wearing standard armor and had black hanbu pants. She had a white and black military scarf wrapped around her neck and had a sound headband on her forehead. I can't say we meet, have we? Naruto said as he formally bowed and walked over to her. This mission is so easy, now all I have to do is persuade him, the girl thought. What's your name? The girl asked. Isn't it polite to say your name before asking? Naruto responded. The girl smirked but complied. Name's Kin, Yours, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Pleased to meet the son of the Yellow Flash. Why thank you. They shook hands and they both smirked at the same time. Wish your team good luck, Kin said. Same to you, Naruto replied. They let go and headed to their respected team and talked to them. Unknown to Naruto, Kin muttered something. Target. Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto. Naruto sat down onto lotus position and then stored up chakra. Sooner or later, Naruto heard a series of steps and felt many chakra signatures. They're all here, Naruto muttered. He then stood up and then opened his eyes and saw a kunai heading his way. Fast. Shit. He maneuvered his head sideways but it still sliced a bit of his face. A large wound appeared on Naruto's cheek and blood came pouring out. Then Naruto felt a warm and wet object licking his wound. Naruto sighed in annoyance. Could you wait until after the Forest of Death? I'm pretty sure I'll be bleeding, Naruto said. Wah, I couldn't wait, a voice right next to him said. You're killing me, you know. You are going to suck my blood clean, Anko. Anko smirked and then whispered in his ear. That's because you have the most good-tasting blood to me. Naruto shuddered and then broke away from her while cutting Anko in the face. Hey, what the hell was that for? Naruto then licked her blood, getting a surprised moan from her. He stopped and smirked. Gotcha. I knew you had a soft side, Naruto said. Anko frowned, not liking that she got embarrassed. Alright, anyway, you have to fill out these consent form. If you die in there, it will not be our fault. Once you've written it, you will go to a certain gate and then once the gate opens, you run inside. You have 5 days to accomplish this. Accomplish what? We don't get any scrolls. There are scrolls hidden in this forest. There are only enough scrolls for at least 5 teams. You may fight other teams to get their scrolls. Remember, you only have 5 days to get at least 1 scroll. If you don't, you fail, Anko explained. Naruto gave back his consent form and Anko smirked at what he wrote. I don't need a damn consent form. I will not die until I have accomplished my dreams, so screw this. Anko smirked and then the gates flew open and the teams went in. Team 64 leapt in and bounded deeper into the forest. We should set up home base at least 5 kilometers from the tower, Amaru said. Alright. I'll send out shadow clones to pick up materials and food, Naruto replied as he bounded upwards and made the familiar cross sign. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 20 clones appeared next to him as they separated and bounded off. That should do it. They kept jumping until they reached their destination. Few hours later. I'm heading out. Remember, if this seal glows red, it means I'm dead. If it glows blue, I exhausted my chakra, okay? Naruto said as he set foot out of the cave. The rest of the team nodded. Alright, I'm going. Johnny, Naruto said as he took his step out of the cave only to be pulled back. Naruto turned and abruptly felt lips against his own. His eyes widened as he saw who kissed him. Tuya, Naruto thought as she moved her tongue around his own. A crimson blush stained both Naruto and Tuya, but there were others that weren't amused. If Tuya looked at remaining members of Team 64, she'd be dead if looks could kill. Both Amaru and Q were glaring at Tuya. Q's first balled up so hard that it became numb. Amaru on the meantime was grinding her teeth hard. She always wanted it to be her to kiss him at least. The kiss broke apart and Naruto stood there dazed. You better not die out there, cause you're my idiot, okay? Tuya shouted. Tuya was blushing pure red by now. She thought she was going to die in embarrassment. She roughly pushed Naruto out of the cave and Naruto, snapping out his daze, nodded and jumped out. Tuya sat back down and was uncomfortable as Amaru and Q glared at her and was saying rather rude things to her, but it didn't brought her down. She had finally managed to kiss the boy she wanted and she was happy. She not letting some goons to ruin it. She's changing Naruto. He's becoming back to who he was. This is not good for my plans. She's getting through to him. If it cracks more, she has won. I never managed to do that when I was inside him, Q thought as she glared at the foul-mouthed redhead. I should have been the one to kiss him, not her. Why did Naruto even selected her anyway, Amaru thought as she glared to the redhead. You know, if we are teammates, we don't glare at them, Tuya said with a smirk. The three got on a rant about why she kissed Naruto and some other stuff and / I'm not going on to detail. I'm not a girl that so I don't know what they freaking talk about. With Naruto. Finally, a scroll, Naruto said as he grabbed the earth scroll from the ground. Hey, Blondie. A familiar voice yelled out as a figure emerged from the forest and into the clearing. Kin walked up to Naruto with a seductive smirk and sauntered to her hips. Naruto, composing himself, looked at her and gave her a small smile. Kin, what are you doing here? Hey, I'm still in this Chunin exams, dumbass. She hugged Naruto from behind and Naruto stood there dazed again. Feeling a something piercing his skin, he looked to Kin, only to find that she was not poking or stabbing him. Releasing a silent chakra wave, he felt something heading his way. The chakra pool of this person was huge, almost as big as his. A figure emerged on the clearing, running fast with a kunai to them. Shit, Naruto thought as he pulled out a kunai and blocked it. He then shoved the man as the man flew past him. Who are you and what do you want? Naruto asked. Koshi, Joun and Ninja of Sound Village, Mission to kill you and Kin over there. Naruto looked over to Kin, who was shocked and was frozen at the same. Why? I was going to finish the job when started before being rudely interrupted by Koshi. Orochimaru backed out of the plan. He doesn't want Naruto or you. Koshi interrupted her. You ain't touching a squat of her, Naruto yelled as he got in his basic taijutsu stance. Prove it then, Jinan of Konohagakure. Prove me wrong and beat a Jounin. Naruto's eyes narrowed. Shit, I need to make a plan. Taking a Jounin head first is definitely a bad idea. For now I have to hold him off till I think of something. Maybe I should try the new jutsu Naruto planned as he took out 10 kunai and stuffed a red and black scroll on his mouth like a dog would hold its bone, and then placed fine kunai on each of his hand, putting one finger on a hole of the kunai, and then crossed his arms against each other making a X. He closed his eyes while doing it. Taking me on then, prepare to die. Koshi dashed forward and then made a slice on Naruto. Naruto blocked it with one of the kunai and then sidestepped, and then as Koshi dashed by, concentrated his chakra points to one huge blast of chakra. Activating his demon eyes, he leapt to the air and then performed a tiger hand sign. Chakra blast, Naruto yelled as a concentrated blast of pure chakra exploded. Landing, he threw several kunai on the ground and then landed next to Kin. Koshi appeared out of the smoke. He was injured but was still be able to fight. Green chakra appeared out of Koshi and then started to heal Koshi's injuries. Shit, he knows healing. Of course, he's a Jounin, Naruto said as Koshi dashed forward and then pulled a kunai. Naruto threw a kunai on Koshi's hand, trying to knock the kunai out of his hand. Koshi expected this, blocked it. The kunai spun overhead as Koshi dashed forward, determined to kill Naruto. Naruto then dashed forward and then a metallic clang echoed as the kunais clashed. Naruto struggled as Koshi pushed forward, trying to excess the weight onto Naruto. Naruto's eyes twitched as his foot slid roughly against the ground. Shit, even in my stage 2 demon eyes, I'm still too low level, Naruto thought as he struggled on the weight. He roughly closed his eyes as he focused. Koshi's eyes widened. He felt a huge chakra spike emanating from the boy. Naruto's eyes flashed open and he unlocked his stage 3 demon eyes. His pupil became a red small circle which had horizontal and vertical lines spiking out of the circle. The horizontal line was sharp and the vertical was similar to a pole's shape. The vertical line was reaching the up and down of the eye. His eye had black background while the cross and the circle and the line was red. Naruto glowed red with chakra, but it wasn't Kyuubi's chakra, it was his own. Naruto dashed forward and then spun overhead of Koshi while slugging Koshi in the face. Koshi stumbled as Naruto landed. Naruto dashed around and then threw a roundhouse kick to Koshi. Koshi dodged as he threw a uppercut punch to Naruto. Naruto backflipped and then dashed forward again. Naruto kicked Koshi right in the jaw and Koshi flipped high in the air. Following after Koshi, Naruto backhanded Koshi in the face and then raised his right leg high. As they touched the ground, Naruto dropped his leg hard onto Koshi's belly as they crashed on the ground. Flipping backwards, he dodged a couple of kunai from Koshi who was slowly getting up and thrown some of his own kunai at Koshi who merely blocked it. Landing against a tree, he dashed forward but got slugged on the right cheek and he flew backwards and hit the tree which had many branched which was sharp. Blood splattered everywhere in the area. Naruto's head was low, looking at his chest which was pierced with the branches from the tree behind him. Blood spilled out from the wounds as his vision blurred and his hearing slowed. He looked at Koshi who was grasping a kunai in his hand which was high above his head. Naruto grinned as he held his fingers similar to a shadow clone jutsu. Koshi dropped his hands and as soon as his hand dropped, a large explosion rocked the area. With Team 64, what was that? Amaru asked as she held her kunai hard. An explosion, that's for sure, Q replied as she played with her fingers. Tuya stared at the seal as she waited for it to respond. It glowed red. The symbol glowed blood red. Tuya's eyes widened as she turned to the gang. What's wrong? Amaru asked. Seal glowed red, Tuya muttered. The rest of Team 64's eyes widened and then silence overcame them. Come on, let's find Naruto. It must be a seal malfunction, Q suggested. No, I tried to contact him but his signal isn't there, Tuya replied. Silence overcame them again, but then Amaru slowly stood up. Then if we didn't save him, he needs a proper burial, doesn't he? Amaru asked, her tone laced with sadness. You right, Tuya responded as she too got up. We should, Q offered as she stood up and grabbed their equipment and then left the cave and followed Naruto's left behind chakra. They bounded after the chakra, following it until they came across Anbu. They were surrounding a large crate as the girl from before, Ken, was sitting there with an Anbu next to her and Anko on her right. Next to them was Jiraiya and Tsunade. Emotion seems to radiate from them as tears were spilling from the Godime's eyes and the Gamasanin was completely frozen. Team 64 bounded next to them and they looked at the group, terrified of what was coming next to them. Lost him, the Rakudime is gone, the emotionally broken down Godime said. He was going to be the heir of the Toad Scroll, Jiraiya muttered. Just then a hand broke the surface of the ground. Oh, you guys are probably saying damn I hate cliffhangers, so I'm going to speed up the next chapter, but I'll be a long one, so please be patient. If you want to do something, please rate then. The next chapter will be the semi-finals of the Chunin exams. Oh, by the way, the next chapter might be delayed because of other story being written, okay? So be patient. No more time for chit-chat. Chapter 9, The Death of Uzumaki and the Rise of Namikaze. Everyone nearby stood defensively as they got into their fighting posture. The hand had a broken and crumpled red and black arm warmers. The hand dug itself into the ground and then it pulled itself up. Everyone's heart thumped louder as another hand appeared and grabbed the earth and hoisted itself up. They saw a flash of yellow and a bit of red emerge from the hole from where the hand appeared. Everyone's blood ran cold and pure awe and amazement spun in their stomach. There, standing right in front of them, was a battered and bruised Naruto, bruised but still alive. Everyone's eyes widened as Naruto trudged a step forward, blood seeping out of his arms and legs, and somehow, the wound above his right eye reopened. "And Naruto?" Tuya asked, her voice laced with shock and surprise. Naruto's head looked at them and gave them a small smile. The one and only Naruto responded as he tilted backwards. Tuya was broken out of her daze and dashed to Naruto and catches him before he hit the ground. Tears of joy was hitting the ground as Tuya cried, "Happy, is that even possible?" For Tuya, I mean, as she held Naruto close. Tsunade appeared next to Naruto and began healing him. He had many cuts and bruises everywhere in his body. "Don't think perverted, okay?" "Anbu," Tsunade yelled as she continued to heal Naruto. 5 cloaked Anbu flashed out of nowhere as they stood in front of the Hokage. "Yes ma'am?" "Take the eyewitness to the interrogation room and..." "No," Naruto's voice wheezed out. His blue eyes darted to Kin, who stood there, wide-eyed. "She was betrayed by Orochimaru and she will give information on what happened here. I know her that much," Naruto's voice rasped out. Kin's eyes widened but then settled. Everyone saw the emotions flashing in her eyes. Naruto's eyes closed as he blacked out. With Naruto seeing black walls around him, he carefully stood up. Everywhere was black. Naruto then noticed that his shins were wet as he looked down. The water was up to his shin. Looking around, he found a light in a distance. The light drew closer, but then Naruto noticed a figure within the light. The light stopped in front of Naruto and then something stepped out. The light cracked then fell into the water, disappearing from sight. Looking straight ahead, Naruto only had one question. What the fuck? With Team 64. After putting Kin in interrogation, Team 64 settled next to Naruto's hospital bed. No words were spoken, just the uncomfortable silence hanging with them. "Okay, questions are in place and answers we need, so Tuya, why the hell did you kiss Naruto?" Amaru stated. "Look, I had feelings for him, strong and real feelings, not fangirlish feelings," Tuya replied, anger laced within her tone. "Look, why Q started but was interrupted. Who knew Naruto had that many girls in love with him?" A voice said behind Q said. Turning, there standing in her own glory, was the Godime Hokage. "Never mind, anyway, since Naruto battered a Jounin, you guys are immediately passed." As we studied Naruto's broken clothes, it had the Earth Scroll. "Naruto should be awake before the finals," Godime Hokage said. "Thank you," Team 64 said in the same time. "Well, girls, which one you KIS?" the Hokage started but got interrupted by Naruto shaking in his bed. White spores bubbled out of his head as blue liquid spilled out of his mouth. Rushing quickly, the crew ran to Naruto and the Godime yelled for assistance for Doctor. "What happening?" Tuya asked, fear evident in her voice. "He needs an operation quick." Tsunade answered as she picked Naruto and rushed to the emergency room. With Naruto, son of a BTCH. Naruto screamed as he dodged another hit from his enemy. The enemy was a blonde, blue-eyed, orange jumpsuit wearing, knuckle-headed ninja. "Naruto, what the fuck is going on?" Naruto asked. "I won't let you take over me, believe it." The orange-wearing ninja yelled. "It's like I'm fighting myself," Naruto thought as he threw roundhouse punch to Naruto. "Getting confused, right? Let's call the Naruto who wears orange Uzumaki and the one wearing red Namikaze." "Okay, the hell is going on?" Naruto thought as he sideswiped at Naruto. Hitting Naruto, it puffed into smoke. "Clone? That means..." Naruto thought as he turned around. "Eat this bastard," Naruto yelled as he shoved the swirling Rasengan at Naruto. With Q watched carefully as she looked at the Naruto personality fighting each other. The one with the red and black attire is the one that today's persona, the orange cloth one is the old persona. "This is perfect, Q. You set up the two persona and got the old one killed so that persona can never be part of his life. He will have new persona as a permanent persona," Q complimented herself. "But if the new Naruto persona gets killed then my plan is destroyed," Q explained to herself. She is just reading over her plan, okay? She is not insane. She smirked, but then her eyes widened in terror. The old Naruto went to hit the new Naruto with the Rasengan. Shit. Q cursed. With Naruto, Namikaze's eyes widened. Everything slowed down for him. The arm of Uzumaki slowly stretched out as his hand slowly went up. Thinking quickly, he sidestepped out of the way and stretched out his right hand out. A blue Rasengan formed in Namikaze that tilted his body forward as his hand stretched out. Uzumaki, while this was happening, landed and then whipped his face to Namikaze along with his hand. Rasengan, they yelled at the same time as both balls of pure concentrated chakra collided. A large chakra waves came out and traveled out of their sight as both Narutos tried their best to win this. Pressure built up between each Naruto's arm as the Namikaze started to narrow his eyes. His arm is in an unbalanced position. If I was to tip him over, I would be able to get in with Rasengan, Namikaze thought. Sliding to his right, Namikaze broke contact with Uzumaki. Uzumaki tilted forward and turned. Namikaze charged with the Rasengan in hand, aiming to Uzumaki. Shit, Uzumaki thought as he sidestepped out of the way and then hurled a punch at Namikaze. Slipping under Uzumaki's punch, Namikaze snaked his leg around Uzumaki's leg and then shoved his fist at Uzumaki. Uzumaki doubled over and tripped to the ground. Namikaze shoved the Rasengan at Uzumaki and a large scream echoed in the landscape. With Team 64 waiting by the operating table was the entire Team 64. Silence was hung over them as they stood next to the body of Naruto, who was resting from the operation. His skin was sickly yellow, sickly green veins were visibly appearing in his arm and body. The doctors say there is an overflow of chakra through his veins and the chakra was disrupting his blood flow. A mandatory problem was that Naruto may lose his memories or his personality and lose his ability to be a ninja. Hearing his silent breathing, Team 64 was nearly driven insane of his condition, especially Tuya. Argh, Tuya yelled as she threw a kunai into the wall. If it wasn't for that sound tramp, he would be fine, she yelled out in frustration. He'll recover, he's tough, Amuro said, trying to cheer Tuya up, even thought her voice were filled with uncertainty. Outside of the room, Kin stayed silent out of the door as tears hit the ground. Her eyes were filled with regret, pain and hurt. She ran out of the hospital. With Team 64, Tuya was nearly into tears when 3 hours passed after the operation and Naruto was still not awake. Hey, where the hell is Q? Amuro asked. With Q slowly slipped out of the storage room at the hospital. She just exited Naruto's body and she knew she made the right decision. Taking advantage of his condition is the perfect way to get rid of the threat of my plans, she thought as she entered Naruto's room. With Team 64, the door opened and Q came in. With 5 ramen noodles? Where the hell have you been? Tuya said. Came to get you girls food. Amuro was drooling as she stared at the food. Take 1 each, the remaining 2 is for Naruto, Q said. Wait, how would you know that? Tuya started but was interrupted by a low groan. Turning around, Naruto slowly sat up and Tuya practically threw herself at Naruto and hugged and kissed him. She never noticed 2 pairs of eyes glare at her. If anyone noticed, Naruto's eyes took a red appearance and his hair streaks grew longer. His teeth grew to canine teeth as his whisker marks became more pronounced and more darker. He smiled, not his foxy grin. This smile was more sinister. Chapter 10, Semi-Final. At the hospital, the old friendship circle of Naruto waited outside the emergency room. Each one hoping that their friend lives. Sasuke blankly stared down at the floor. Naruto had beaten a Jounin with ninjutsu and his mind games. He was reminded of Itachi, his brother. Sasuke looked up, wondering, where is Itachi now? With Itachi, 9 figures stood in a dark cave. The first one to speak was a ginger-haired man. We shall go after the Kyuubi, Nibi and the Hachibi in 3 years' time. We shall take out the Hachibi and Nibi first and then the Kyuubi, the orange-haired man said. He turned to the left, facing 2 other members. You will take out the Hachibi. He turned to another pair. You take out Nibi. And turned to the last pair. You will take out the Kyuubi. Are we clear? All members nodded. You may do as you wish beforehand. The 9 figures vanished like they never existed. With Team 64, different thoughts wandered around Team 64's heads. Let's look at them, shall we? I hope he's okay. Shit, I'm growing too soft around that shithead, Tuya thought as she frowned at her girlishness. That baka is always getting himself into trouble. He should be more carefully. Arg, what's the point? I am in love with him and I have to make a stand for him, Amuro thought. By far, Q's was more sinister. The personality fits him perfectly in the new look I like. Soon, my love, very soon, you won't have to worry about a thing, Q thought as a wicked smile grew on her face as she stared at the new improved Naruto. Naruto, as if he heard what Q was thinking, walked to her, a evil smile plastered on his face, scaring Tuya and Amuro. He stopped in front of her, his wicked smile lowered to a frown. His blood-red eyes staring at Q's haunting scarlet eyes. Not prepared, Q dashed forwards and smacked her lips against Naruto's, her eyes lidded with lust, not lust for him, It was lust for destruction and death. Naruto hugged her and Q slipped something in Naruto's mouth which was noticed by Tuya. Q got down and smiled, evil clearly plastered on it. Great, I'm the only one who wasn't kissed Naruto in my team, great, just great, Amaru thought. Naruto's brow twitched and then he turned to his right, staring into steel ocean blue demonic eyes of Yugito. A scowl on Yugito's face, making it clear that she knew something about Naruto that wasn't right. She turned to Q, clearly angry, her eyes clear enough for Q to know it was a silent message sent. She stormed forward to Naruto, clearly knowing the aura around Naruto. Bloodlust. Slap. Naruto's senses were knocked off balance as Yugito slapped him right across the face, surprising Amaru and Tuya. Q stood still, not caring to the normal eye, but if anyone looked deeper, someone would have seen a flash of worry. Naruto got back up, moving gracefully. Yugito stared at Naruto and sent a telepathic message to Naruto and then vanished into thin air. Naruto looked over his shoulder, looking at Tuya and Amaru, his eyes piercing their souls. We better head to the stadium, don't want to miss the semi-finals, don't we? Naruto stated. Team 64 nodded and then vanished within a fire that spread out from Naruto. In the tower, a fire burned brightly and many Jinan and Chunin exactly knew who it was. 3 figures came out of the fire burned out and disappeared. Team 64 stepped out, Tuya's face scrunched in confusion. Where's Naruto? She asked her teammates. Amaru shrugged and Q did too, but there was a glint in her eyes. With Naruto ran across Konoha's wall, planting some sort of seals on every 5 kilometers. His eyes were filled bloodlust, like he knew something was going to happen and it was going to involve blood. He smiled wickedly and then vanished in a poof of fire. With Team 64, QB sat patiently as every team waited for the start of the semi-final. Yugito glared at QB. A deep blue color of chakra were slowly surrounding her, but people think she was practicing her chakra control. The Hokage stood up. Greetings Jinan teams, you have now reached the Chunin semi-final. Some speech Q thought. The board flashed and then some random names appeared. Team 64 didn't pay attention until their names were heard and faced their opponent. After many fights, Naruto's name flashed up against Yugito. Yugito frowned but then jumped down onto the arena. The ref in that time was looking around for Naruto until a large, sharp sound echoed around the arena, followed by the ground cracking. Show off, Sasuke thought as he smirked. If Naruto was troublesome before, he's even more troublesome now, Shikamaru thought. Naruto-kun, Hinata thought. Baka. Ino and Sakura thought at the same time. Nice clothes, matches his entrance, Anko thought as she grinned at his student. Naruto stood up, his clothes were different. He was wearing a black short-sleeve coat which had red flames in the design, red long-sleeve shirt that had black thin ropes tied in key points around the arm. He had on a black pants that had a red flames on his left leg and a red kanji for demon in his right leg. His eyes filled with bloodlust and his fingers were covered in dried blood. Yugito visibly winced but then her face turned blank. Meanwhile up in the stands, Q smiled, liking Naruto's new appearance. Soon we shall rule this world, my love, Q thought as she gripped the rails tighter. The ref looked at Yugito and then turned to Naruto, then he looked to his feet. This will be rather destructive, he thought before saying Hajime. Naruto dashed forward, barely seeable to the naked eye, and threw shuriken at Yugito. Yugito rolled to the side and was about to throw some kunai back when she was tackled at an insane speed. At the impact, her femur shattered. The tackle was so fast that when Yugito was tackled, everyone in the stadium saw her disappear at the insane rate of the speed. Naruto kicked away at her and then kicked her at her chin, knocking Yugito upwards. Yugito's eyes snapped open, she turned and then kicked at the space in front of her. Many Jinan thought she went insane, but that was changed when blood came out of the air. Naruto's body appeared and then Yugito took advantage. She slammed her heel at Naruto's side and then side-kicked at Naruto's head. Yugito pulled her hand back and dark blue chakra seeped out of her arm. It started to wrap at her hand at rapid rate until it formed a giant chakra claws. She snapped her arm at Naruto and before anyone could see what happened to Naruto, they hit the ground and smoke covered them upon impact of the ground. Sorry for the different type of writing, I slacked off on this story and focused on some school things, so I'm not at a 100% of my normal writing. Sorry for lame details so far. Everyone was tense, Q's face was in scowl, Tuya's face was shock and Amaru was calculating. Sasuke was staring in awe. Naruto moved in Mach 3 speed, impossible for a ninja to do, even Yondai may never gone that fast. The smoke cleared and Yugito had her chakra-covered arm on the ground, but it looked like it was struggling on keeping something down. There was a hole under the Yugito's chakra-covered hand, and something was slowly coming out. Naruto, covered in red chakra, shoved Yugito's chakra claw back and then kicked her back. A chakra tail was formed from the red chakra covering Naruto. Naruto's appearance changed, his whisker marks were more defined, his teeth grew sharp and long. His eyes changed to pure red with a thin black slit in the middle and his nails sharpened. Yugito's chakra claw then shrinking until it was Yugito's normal hand. Dark blue chakra slowly covered Yugito, forming a tail on that dark blue chakra cloak. Her hair slowly raised and then flew all over in rage, as if the hair was fire itself. Her eyes in blue demonic color, slits for pupils. Her skin seems to darken a little but no one could notice unless in close quarters. Her nails sharpened and her teeth grew sharp and long. They both crouched onto the ground slowly melting upon their touch, making a smoke effect. The god Tsunade, was panicking when the demon fox cloak covered Naruto. He revealed his secret to the Genans. Yugito looked like she neglected to use the Nibi's power but the dark blue chakra wouldn't go back into Nibi's cage. Naruto on the other hand, seemed to embrace the chakra, not even bothered to make it go back in the cage. They disappeared in a flash and then large impact sound waves were heard all over the arena. The shinobi inside couldn't see the fight but they could hear it. Yugito slashed at Naruto. Naruto dodged and then went to claw Yugito in the face but Yugito caught in and threw Naruto away from her. Naruto was flung in incredible speed and hit the arena wall. Yugito landed, her eyes showing she didn't want to hurt Naruto. A neon red blur sped out of the hole and it vanished, revealing Naruto, claws ready to strike Yugito. Yugito's tail blocked the hit and then it slid Naruto to the slide, giving an open shot. Yugito retracted her arm, blue, hot fire forming on her arm. She shoved her fists at Naruto and the effect was amazing. Not only did Yugito harm Naruto, she managed to pierce the demon fox cloak which is an incredible feat, technically impossible to do. Naruto's head lowered, blood dripping from his mouth. Both of their demon cloaks fell. Yugito looked at Naruto, her eyes filled with unknown emotion. Q smirked, her eyes pure red. Naruto's face slowly moved up, his mouth turning to a smile, his eyes turning pure red and demonic once more. His hand grabbed Yugito's arm and then her hand burned. Naruto grabbed her at her neck, his demon fox cloak consuming him once more. Deception is ninja's best friend, Naruto said to her. Naruto flipped her over and she landed with a dull thud. Naruto rose his fists and slammed it down. Yugito's eyes connected with Naruto seconds before Naruto slammed his hands down. Q frowned at what she was seeing. Looks like I have to fix some things with the seal, she thought. Yugito slowly opened her eyes. She felt no pain and she looked up and nearly bumped her head against Naruto's fists. They were just above her head. Naruto's face was a complete shock at what just happened. He blinked and then fell to the ground, his veins turning blue. Yugito was about to stand and go to Naruto but her legs failed her. The ref looked between them. DCH, with this luck, the first one standing wins, the ref thought. Naruto slowly got his knee up, his hands resting on his knee. Seconds ticked by and everyone was waiting, Sasuke outright shocked at the display of determination showed by the two. Yugito moved into a kneeling position. Q looked at Yugito and Yugito gave her a dark glare. Naruto got up on his feet and Yugito jumped straight up. They dashed forward, Naruto's nails sharpened into claws and Yugito's hand was engulfed with dark blue chakra. Naruto threw his punch at Yugito as she launched her fist at him. Elsewhere, Iwanin stood quietly outside Konoha. A Jounin stood in front an army of Iwanins. A Chunin approached the Jounins. Sir, who's the target? Said Jounin turned to him and said, It's at the semifinals. Naruto Namikaze is the winner, the ref declared as Naruto stared at Yugito, badly bruised. Naruto knelt down beside her and then put his hand just above her chest. Urobaka. Ino and Sakura both yelled. Q frowned. Sasuke looked shocked at the brutality of the match. Tsunade was looking very pissed. She looked at Naruto, no, more like glared at Naruto and then looked at her perverted teammate. If I found out that you turned Naruto to a pervert then you better hope I have mercy, Jiraiya, she thought. Jiraiya was cheering for his student. Yes. Naruto is a pervert. He's turning just like me. Like sensei, like student. This is just the beginning. I'll turn him to a super pervert. Jiraiya thought happily while having a nosebleed. Kakashi was basically waving a success sign. He was finally happy that a student understands him. Tuya was entirely killing everyone with her killing intent as she glared at Naruto. Amaru was yelling her head at Naruto, screaming swears at him. Naruto's hand was covered in green chakra and Yugito's injuries started to heal faster. Jiraiya, Tuya, Amaru and Kakashi face faulted. Sasuke twitched. Q frowned. Tsunade sighed in happiness. He's finally using my jutsus to heal people, she happily thought. Ino and Sakura sweat dropped. Q looked deep at Naruto's figure. The seal is broken. He's his normal self again, she thought. Yugito's eyes opened and looked deep at Naruto's blue ocean eyes. He mouthed a quiet sorry and then continued to heal her. Yugito sat up and looked at Naruto weirdly. Naruto, still having no knowledge about girls, did not expect what happened next. Yugito smashed her lips against Naruto's, surprising the blonde. Hinata fainted on the spot. Q frowned even more and Tuya suffocated everyone with killing intent. By far, Amaru had the less violent reaction to the normal eye. She screamed at Yugito with a lot of swearing, making Tuya proud. Tsunade, Kakashi and Jiraiya whistled. This kid is a chick magnet, they thought all together. Yugita's and Naruto's face both were stained with crimson blush, and after what seemed like nigh eternity, she broke away. Naruto stood dazed, looking directly at Yugito. Yugito practically threw herself as Naruto mouthed to what happened. Naruto hit the ground, Yugito hugging him like she was going to die without him by his side. Tuya screamed rude words at Yugito and Q glared at Yugito. Ahem. Should you keep your hands off Namikaze as we shall continue to the finals, the ref said. No, Yugito said as she clung closer to Naruto, making the young Namikaze blush. Come on Yugito, let's just move out of the arena and get to the stands, Naruto said as he slowly got up. Yugito jumped on his back and Naruto looked at her with a dangerous look, in which Yugito replied with a nibble on his ear. To say Naruto was shocked was an understatement. The following matches displayed on the board shall take place in the finals, Tsunade said as she drank another bottle of sake, making Shinon look at her with a strange face, in which Amaru laughed at. The boards flashed and out came Amaru vs Hinata. The board flashed again and out came Q vs Kenshi. The board flashed again and out came Tuya vs Kin. The board flashed and out came Shikamaru vs Neji. The board flashed again and out came Koshi vs Fu. The board flashed one more time and it said, Naruto Namikaze vs Sasuke Uchiha. Chapter 11. Hope. Naruto was wearing a pure white hoodie which had a black whirlpool insignia on the back and wore blue jeans and also wore leather boots which had straps on the side. He slowly trudged across the street that had been filled with laughter but now had been deserted in a few mere minutes. He never truly understood how he became like this. This demonic version of himself had emerged from the deep recess of his mind and grasped control. This is one thing he was afraid of. He knew he contained hate and anger which had molded into this dark Naruto, a persona which he had no control. In his mind, 3 mirrors were placed in U positions. Each mirror contained 3 different figures. The first one glowed with the color of red. The second one glowed with the color of white. The third one didn't glow. The mirror was full black with no visible reflection seen. There was a hallway in front of the mirrors, and in the hallway, a gold glow could be seen. With Team 64, Q, Tuya and Amaru rested in the Namikaze residence, each one worn from the day's training except Q, of course. She was the nine-tailed fox, and because of that, she had near unlimited stamina. Argh, Tuya growled out as she dropped on the couch, tired. Amaru went up the stairs and jumped on her bed, ready to sleep. Q just calmly sat in front of the TV while eating a steaming hot ramen. How could you eat ramen after we trained until we had no more energy? Tuya grunted. I am the nine-tailed fox, so I have more stamina than all of you. Naruto and Amaru all together, Q said as she ate her ramen with her chopsticks. Tuya just shook her head and then lay down and drifted to sleep. A burst of flames appeared on the room and Naruto came out. Q smiled at him and wrapped her arms around him from his back. What's wrong? Q asked as she leaned close at Naruto. Q. What have I become? That moment I lusted for blood. It became a dangerous part of me, Naruto said as Q carefully pulled down his hood. You are who you are. That demonic version of you was only a representation of your hatred. You may have molded a new persona, Q said as she started to get closer to Naruto's face. Tuya, secretly awake, was nearly about to jump up and chop her head off when she froze. Everything slowed down for her as she saw Naruto turn his head around to Q, who was going for a kiss. Q captured Naruto's lips with hers as he turned around. Naruto, surprised at this action, froze but then wrapped his arms around her body, pulling her closer. Naruto felt Q shove a pill of sorts into his throat, in which he swallowed. Q pulled her head back, away from Naruto, and smiled. What did yo? Naruto started but was interrupted as she kissed him once more. Tuya snapped and jumped out of bed. Hey guys! Tuya nearly screamed out. Q broke away from Naruto and looked at her. Oh, hey Tuya, me and Naruto were just having a private moment together. What do you want? Q asked. I was just about to ask Naruto to help me organize my gear. Naruto, come on, Tuya said as she pulled Naruto away from Q's grasp. Tuya dragged Naruto outside of the house. Okay. First we need to organize all of your equipment. You need to have a large bag to contain all of the items, Naruto said. With Q. Screw it, I'm outta here, Q said as she disappeared in a burst of flames. Q stood at the forest of death, her fingers flying fast as she did seals. She then smacked her palm at the ground, a seal appearing before her. In order for me to break this seal, I need a large amounts of dark chakra. Jinchuriki chakra won't work because of its unstable force, she said to herself. She let go of the ground and a black seal was embedded onto the ground. After Chunin exams, that when set my plan into motion, Q said. With Tuya. Naruto noticed some flutes for sale and went off to buy one. Stay here, Naruto said as he dashed inside. Tuya frowned at Naruto and then looked at area around her. Everyone was looking at her and whispering. Tuya listened at one of them. Look, It's Namikaze's girlfriend, just like his dad, he prefers redheads. Tuya blushed at thought of her and Naruto in a relationship. She shrugged it off as Naruto came out of the shop. He held his hands behind his back and had a foxy grin on his face. I always did like his foxy grin, Tuya thought as she smiled. Guess what I got for you, Naruto said. What? Your stupidity? Tuya replied with a funny tone in her voice. No, but something special, Naruto said as he pulled his hands out of his back, revealing a metal flute. It had embroidery on the bottom. On the side spelled out her name in gold color. Naruto, wow. Tuya breathed out as she was speechless. It's a metal flute with sapphire emeralds embedded on the bottom of the flute and had your name spelled out on the side in gold. I know it's expensive, but you deserve it, Naruto said. Tuya grabbed hold of flute and then started to play it. Naruto smiled as she continued to play. She stopped playing and shoved it in her pouch. Thank you, Tuya yelled as she jumped at him and hugged him. Naruto then started to spin around, their laughter mixing into a joyful sound. Many people in the street were staring at them with smiles, and some of Naruto's fangirls, yes, he is fangirls, when people found out about his lineage, were angry, very angry. A girl from an alleyway across the streets kept glancing at him with teary eyes. The only thing that identified her was her headband, which had a sound insignia on it. I know I haven't written a chapter for a long time because of my do-nothing slacker status, and I apologize. Please review and rate, and please vote on Chapter 12. Chunin Exams Finals Part 1. Naruto, dressed in a white hoodie that had a whirlpool design in the back and wore jeans and leather boots, walked with his team across the streets of Konoha. Their destination was the stadium. All the members, excluding Naruto, were dressed in battle attire. Tuya wore a black short-sleeve t-shirt that had a red design of some musical notes. On top of that was a black cape with red insides. She wore black track pants that had red line on the sides and wore black sandals that had red stitching. She had weapons stored around her body for quick access to weapons. Q wore a red cloak that had a hoodie attached to it. Underneath she wore a black kimono that had red flower design on it. A red cloth tightened across her waist. She also wore a black heel. A katana was strapped to her waist. Amaru wore a black tight polo that had red designs. She had a red shirt underneath. She wore a black skirt that had a red lining in it. She had a dagger strapped to her back. The team approached the stadium door and Naruto pulled out his hand and pointed it at the door. Remember, you can control any elements at a certain degree, Q said to Naruto in their mind link. Tuya then pulled out her flute and prepared. Amaru did some seals and her arms were covered in darkness. Q smirked as she did some seals. Konoha is going to be scared shitless with this, she thought as she activated her jutsu. Inside the arena, all the contestants were in a line, being applauded when a giant fireball burst through the door. A sound wave detonated inside the fireball, making an effect where the sound waves were covered with fire. This caused a spectacular explosion. While all was this happening, the arena was covered with the darkness. The Konoha civilians and ninja-like thought an attack was about to happen. A light glowed from the door and air rushed it, blowing the dust and sound waves away. The darkness faded and standing on the door was Team 64. Nice entrance, Anko thought from the stands. Ahem, as I said before, behold the Chunin exam final. Tsunade shouted as civilians cheered all around the stadium. Naruto headed upstairs with the others while a match began. The proctor called out the first match. Amaru and Hinata, please make your way to here to begin the match, the proctor said. Hinata walked out. Her eyes were already in Byakugan state, giving Amaru the infamous Hyuga glare. Wish me luck, Amaru said to Naruto as she leapt down from the sidelines. You don't need luck, you already have the skills necessary to beat her, Naruto replied. Both fighters got into a stance and spoke a few words before the fight began. Watch your back, bitch. I'll kill you for corrupting my Naruto-kun, Hinata hissed in rage. I'd like to see you try, you spoiled Hyuga whore, Amaru said. Naruto's eyes narrowed upon that sentence. Amaru is not like that. She may speak rudely, but she never speaks like that. Something wrong, Naruto thought. Hey Naruto, a voice behind Naruto said. He looked over to see Yugito walking up to him. He smiled and then looked down at the arena. So Naruto, I was wondering. Yugito started but was quickly interrupted by another girl. Fuck me, Naruto thought. It was a green-haired girl that had red eyes and wore white clothing. Hey, nice to meet you, Namikaze. Name's Fu from the Waterfall Village, Fu introduced. Naruto looked over to her and their eyes clashed. Naruto shook his head as Fu stood next to Naruto. What the fuck is this? A Jinchuriki party? Naruto hissed in frustration. Tuya heard him and smiled. At least the asswipe learned my vocabulary, Tuya thought. Down at the arena, Hinata strikes Amaru, her arms moving fast with an aggressive nature. I'll make this whore pay and free Naruto from them, Hinata continually thought as she kept up her assault. Fuck. Her strikes are fast. I'll have to be careful, Amaru thought as she ducked underneath the spinning kick from Hinata. She quickly activated her demon eyes and decided to have her go. Hinata went to strike her head but was blocked by Amaru, who quickly punched Hinata in the stomach. Hinata faltered for a moment, pain surging through her. Amaru then pulled out her dagger from her back and went to slice Hinata. Hinata whipped out her kunai to block the slice. Pulling out another kunai, Hinata parried away Amaru's dagger and spun low on the ground, attempting to knock Amaru off her feet, her other arm dropping some sort of pellets on the ground. Amaru jumped in the air, her body twisting in midair. Amaru then pulled out her left leg to kick Hinata in the head. Hinata saw this coming and nudged Amaru's kick to the side with her left leg. Hinata jumped up and went to slice Amaru's head off, but Amaru had already dodged backwards to avoid it. With Hinata missing her, Amaru, after Hinata's swipe missed her, went to her legs and swung her dagger, drawing blood. Hinata dropped to a crouching position. She had severed her veins in her legs, and she was unable to move for a few minutes. A smirk appeared on her pale lips. Amaru's location was suddenly blow up with a flash, blinding Amaru. Hinata then dashed to Amaru while yelling, 64 bombs. Hinata struck Amaru with a blinding speed, her arms blurred. Amaru was stepping backwards from the ferocity of the attack. Hinata kept her assault up, she then covered her hands in chakra, adding more damage to Amaru. Hinata then pulled back and instead of just following the usual, she gave Amaru a roundhouse kick instead. Amaru twirled in the air as she flew back. She was covered in bruises and blood. It appears that when Hinata reinforced her hands with chakra, the chakra gained the shape of a knife. As Amaru bled out, her head dirty and bruised. "That's for corrupting Naruto-kun," Hinata hissed. "Winner, Hinata Hyuga," the proctor said. Hinata went up back to the sidelines as Amaru was carried away by medics. Amaru Naruto thought as he jumped down and followed the medics, surprising Hinata. "Will she live?" That was aggressive, Naruto asked. "At this rate, the damage done to her may have lasting effects such as poor chakra control due to damage to the chakra points," the medic said. "Do everything you can to prevent that," Naruto told them. Naruto then touched Amaru's cheek, his face very close to her. He whispered something and then kissed her in the lips before he stood up. "Go," Naruto told them. The medics nodded and took her to the hospital. "You crossed the line, Hinata. You'll pay," Naruto thought as he raced back to the sidelines. Next match, can Q and Kenshi come down to the arena? Q jumped down, making a crater when she landed, causing most boys to think she was heavy, meaning she was fat, but that was impossible due to her size. Kenshi dropped down, his finger wrapped tightly at his katana. "This will be a sword fight." "Big one," Naruto thought, but was quickly interrupted out of his thoughts as Hinata hugged him. "Back away, Hinata," Naruto told her. Hinata, shocked from Naruto's sentence, stood there. "Not only you nearly crippled Amaru, but now you have the audacity to hug me, her teammate. Get your head straight. She's a leaf Shinnon like you, not Orochimaru, for God's sake," Naruto snapped. Hinata, recovering Naruto's outburst, walked away, dark thoughts clouding her mind. "I guess I have to take down the other two. I'll save you, Naruto-kun, from those bitches," Hinata thought. Q evaded Kenshi's swipe and then went for a low strike, but Kenshi jumped. Q smiled as she spun and went to slice Kenshi in the stomach. Direct hit. Q slashed Kenshi's belly in half and blood gushed out. No doubted that Q won. "Win a Q," the proctor said as medics ran out and nabbed Kenshi and headed, healing him along the way. Q sheathed her katana and headed up, an evil smirk plastered on her face, but it quickly disappeared when Naruto came into view. "That was a fast match. You could have told with him for a few minutes to make yourself look convincing that you were a Shinnon," Naruto spoke. "Yeah, but I decided I should be more eco-friendly with my chakra," Q responded. "Good point," Naruto answered. "Will Kin and Tuya come down here for the next match?" the proctor said. "Kin? Why does the name sound so familiar?" Naruto thought. Naruto's mindscape. A cage door seemed to be on the hallway. 2 words were painted onto the gate. "Repressed memories." Lights glowed from within and a memory of Kin flashed behind the gate. Back outside, Naruto was suddenly hit with pain, his head raked with memories of Kin. Memories flashed before him and he dropped to a knee, clutching his head. "Naruto. Are you okay?" Yugito said as she dropped next to him. "Kintsuchi," Naruto thought. "Kintsuchi," Naruto mumbled before he mumbled something unintelligible. Naruto stood up and looked down at the arena. "Kin?" Naruto shouted, causing everyone to look at him. Kintsuchi trudged out of the hall and went into the arena. Her eyes were red and puffy due to her crying for the past month. She had forsaken any thought about Naruto, but when he screamed her name, something burst open inside of her. Kin looked up, hope filling her eyes. Naruto nodded and her eyes widened in shock. "What the fuck is Naruto doing with the fucking bimbo Kin?" Tuya questioned herself. Kin then dropped into a stance. She seemed to be rejuvenated from Naruto's actions. A smile appeared on her face. "What the fuck?" Tuya thought. Naruto's lips curved into a smile and Yugito, Fu and the rest of Team 64 found themselves wanting to kill Kin. "What the fuck have you been doing to my boyfriend, bitch?" Tuya growled out. This sentence caused Hinata to faint, Jiraiya and Tsunade to gawk at Tuya and Naruto. Q to break the metal bars she grasped and caused the entire of Konoha to just shout what? Kin's smile didn't fall, she just even grinned more. "I just so happen to like your boyfriend. He never even dated you yet, so in reality bitch, he's single," Kin said. The rest of Konoha, some Genins and 2 Senins to gasp in relief. Here is the reason why each one gasped in relief. For the Konoha civilians, they don't want Naruto to give birth at such a young age, they don't need another snot-nosed brat like him until Naruto matured. For the some Genins, they all want Naruto to be theirs. For the Senins, because they don't want to be a great-great-grandmother/father. Tuya looked up to Naruto, praying that what Kin said wasn't true. Naruto scratched the back of his head with a sheepish grin in his face. "Well, we never really dated. Nor did we even accept each other to be recognized as a couple," Naruto said sheepishly. He knew he was in deep shit after the match. Tuya frowned at Naruto but she just shook her head. "Hey! You too," Naruto shouted from the stands. "What?" Kin and Tuya shouted. "Let's make this match a little interesting, since I know Tuya and Kin both love me. I'll date the girl who wins the match," Naruto shouted. The entire Naruto fan club had fainted. Yugito and Fu had looked at him with a "what about me?" look. Q just glared. "Foxboy makes it interesting, I like it," Kin said in joy. Tuya growled at the nickname Kin gave Naruto. "Fine shithead, I'll take the stakes," Tuya shouted. "Alright. I'll get my best tux out of my closet," Naruto shouted down. The Naruto fan club had major nosebleed as they pictured Naruto in a tux. Yugito looked hurt and Fu just looked the other way. Q nearly killed all the girls who had a crush on Naruto but she composed herself. "You'll be mine soon," Naruto Q thought. "This will be interesting. Strategy versus Genjutsu," Naruto thought. Down at the arena, Tuya whipped out her flute and put it close to her lips, readying herself. She knew this girl's abilities, much like her own when she was part of Orochimaru's Sound 4. She would better be careful with those bells. Kin pulled out some senbons, all of them was tied with a bell. Tuya quickly fired sound waves with her flute. Kin ducked and threw some senbons but Tuya had dodged them. Kin started to circle Tuya. Every often she threw some senbons but all of them missed. Tuya quickly summoned her Doki and the Doki charged at Kin. The Doki exploded before it even reached Kin. Tuya narrowed her eyes. There was no way Kin managed to plant explosives without her knowing. She had been throwing senbons with bells. Wait, bells? Tuya glanced at the senbons on the ground next to her. She quickly made a seal and said Kai. The bells on the senbons turned to explosive tags. Tuya's eyes widened and she jumped out of the area as the explosives blew up. Kin knew I would be expecting some genjutsu to be used on me. She threw senbon's needles around me so it would get me trapped. She didn't use genjutsu because she knows I'm an expert at them and totally capable of releasing myself from a genjutsu. Smart plan, Tuya thought as she looked down at Kin as she stood still on the wall. Kin smirked as she stared back at Tuya's glare. Tuya placed the flute on her lips and started to play. Her Doki appeared and went to attack Kin. Kin rolled away as her Doki went to attack. She quickly threw some senbons to Tuya. Tuya leapt away and Kin threw another set of senbons. Tuya went to dodge them but she was stopped. She glared as she realized that wire wrapped her body. When did she? Tuya thought as she fell to the ground. Kin whipped her arms apart and Tuya was squeezed by the wires. Got you. Tuya. Kin smirked as she kept a tight grip on the wires. Tuya grunted and looked for an option. She pumped her chakra into her eyes and her eyes shifted into her demon eyes. She stared onto Kin's eyes and casted a genjutsu. Kin felt a weird feeling overcome her and suddenly, she was in a dark area. Kin realized it and shouted, Kai. Tuya had ripped the wires apart as Kin dropped hold of it. She quickly went to punch her in the face but her eyes snapped open and blocked it. As expected of you to know what's genjutsu, Tuya smirked. She quickly pushed her back and threw multiple kunais at her. Kin whipped out her senbons and quickly released a barrage of senbons. Weapons collided and fell onto the ground. Tuya threw a kunai after it. A smoke bomb was released and a rustle of movements was heard. A body flew out of the smoke and landed a few meters away. It was Kin. Barely conscious. Tuya emerged from the smoke and grinned. When did you? Kin mumbled. Tuya held a wire at one hand and brass knuckles on the other. I threw a kunai right after I threw dozens of it. It was hidden in it and you weren't expecting it. Wires was connected to it and it wrapped at your hand. I threw a smoke bomb for cover, that way you wouldn't see me get close. I pulled you in and smacked you with the brass knuckles. Ninja uses every tool they have to their advantage, Tuya explained, and Kin fell into unconsciousness. Winner Tuya. How about that for the first half? Chapter 13. Chunin Exams Finals Part 2. Will Neji Hyuga and Shikamaru Nara come to the arena please? The protector asked. Neji jumped down and landed, looking directly at Shikamaru's bored face. He stood up and faced him. "No hard feelings, Neji, but I'm slacked off. You won't have a good fight for this one," Shikamaru spoke as he lazily stared at Neji. Neji waved his hand in front of his body. "No hard feelings," Neji said before he dashed forward, his palms striking out. Shikamaru stared at him lazily and sighed before dropping into a stance. The two engaged in a hand-to-hand combat before Shikamaru jumped out of the fray. "I got to be careful. In a hand-to-hand combat, I'll lose. I must use tactics. Think," Shikamaru calmly thought as he landed. Quickly throwing out kunais with smoked eggs on them, Shikamaru dodged a palm strike from Neji. He jumped into the dark corner and formed a seal. "Kage no main jutsu," Shikamaru thought as he stretched his shadow out to Neji. Neji, thinking quickly, jumped backwards, retreating to the corner. Shikamaru let out a small smile before detonating his kunai from earlier. Smoke surrounded the arena. Neji quickly activated his Byakugan. He saw through the smoke and dashed to Shikamaru but was halted. Shikamaru grinned. "Gotcha," he said as he plucked out a couple of explosive tags and threw them down in front of Neji, which Neji followed with the exception of the explosive tags which he didn't pack. "Winner of the round, Shikamaru," the proctor said out loud as the crowd roared. Shikamaru lazily walked up the steps with Neji in tow. The two stopped in the stairs and looked at each other. "A large barrage of chakra is approaching this arena," Neji said. "You noticed it too?" Shikamaru said. "It's a large force, maybe Jounins, but I'm not sure." "How did you realize?" Neji asked. Shikamaru chuckled. "A few civilians have a chakra coating around them, they're enemy nins in disguise. Clever ploy but easily failed if chakra is lightly visible," Shikamaru said as he walked up, plodding. Neji followed him. Back to the arena. "Will Koshi and Fu come to the arena?" the proctor asked as the two jumped down. The two looked at each other and as soon as the word Hajime was heard, dashed towards each other. Up on the sidelines, Naruto watched on, eyes wandering around the clouds. His opponent was Sasuke. It made him flash back to the past. Naruto had one thought. Team 7. He never really understand why Sasuke was so distant from him and yet so similar to him in many ways. It was a coincidence. Both of them contained hatred, pain and most of all, burdens. Sasuke has the burden of the Uchiha clan at his shoulder while Naruto had shouldered the burden of the Kyuubi no Kitsune. He was a little disappointed in Sasuke for falling so deep into his hate, doing everything to accomplish his goal, kill Itachi Uchiha. Naruto himself had fallen to his darkness since his Junon graduation, but he made it look like he was fine. Naruto was suddenly shaken out of his thoughts as he felt a burning in his arm. He looked down to see his arm rapidly draining of color and veins becoming visibly which had a dark sickly black color. His skin had suddenly wrinkled and his bones were suddenly poking out of his body. Then his arm returned to normal, healthy fair skin and bones not visible anymore. He frowned. Something was going wrong inside of him. He need to investigate this. He moved his hand, making sure it was safe, and then looked down to the arena. It was new match, one that he wasn't really interested in. It was Koshi against Fu. They deployed the normal technique with the exception of a fire technique that Fu used. The match ended after a while. "Will Naruto Namikaze and Sasuke Uchiha come down to the arena please?" the proctor asked. Naruto gazed at Sasuke who stared back at him. Sasuke's mood changed over the past few weeks. He had gone through some training with Kakashi. His chakra reserves also were extended. Sasuke jumped down, blowing the dust away from the ground as he landed. Naruto leapt down and smashed the ground with his fist, causing small spider web cracks over it. Sasuke gritted his teeth. The tension between them hasn't changed. Both was pumped from the events at the Valley of the End. Sasuke was shaking, not in fear but in excitement. He had been waiting for this rematch for a while, but this time, he would fight him like as an ally, not an enemy. "On my mark, ready, set." The proctor's voice vanished from their ears as both glared at each other. Naruto flipped open his kunai, his eyes narrowed. Sasuke opened his pouch and pulled out a few shurikens and held it at a ready. "Sasuke, Naruto, Hajime." Naruto and Sasuke dashed forward, rapidly approaching the center. Sakura tightly clenched her fist, eyes focused on the fight. She may not like Naruto, but Naruto was a friend and ally who had protected and served the village with the best of his ability. After the retrieval mission, Naruto changed, walking down the path of his hate and anger. She wasn't sure what caused such change, but all she knew is that nothing was the same. A thought made her tremble. She had denied it for a long time, but it was no use. Team 7 was no more. Sasuke threw multiple shuriken at Naruto. Naruto deflected all of them with his kunai and rushed forward, intending to slice Sasuke in the chest. Sasuke grasped Naruto's arm and jumped over it, using it as a pole vault. Sasuke landed behind Naruto and went to punch Naruto in the face, but Naruto twisted around and blocked it. Sasuke went to kick Naruto in the rib, but Naruto countered it by sweeping Sasuke off the floor. Sasuke landed with a thump on the dust, Naruto stood above him, pointing a kunai at Sasuke's neck. Sasuke scowled and formed a jutsu. Sasuke's place was replaced by a log and Naruto pulled away. Replacement jutsu, eh? Naruto thought as he looked around. His eyes glanced around him, looking beside him and then at the ground. Not left, right nor below. That means... Naruto thought as his flicked up towards the sky. Above. Naruto finished his thought. An electrical crackling was heard, slowly becoming louder and louder. Electrical sparks were falling to the ground. It was Sasuke, his left arm stretched out, bluish electricity covering his entire hand. Naruto cursed and dove forwards, out of the way of the Chidori. Sasuke's Sharingan activated, sensing Naruto's next move. Something flicked in his eyes. It was definitely chakra, but it was bloody red in color. Shit, Sasuke thought. His vision was impaired as he struck the ground. Dust blew everywhere as the massive crackling of electricity died down. Sasuke got into a stance as Naruto stared at Sasuke, eyes narrowed. They charged at each other. Naruto threw 5 shurikens but Sasuke dodged past them and went to kick Naruto in the stomach, but Naruto had blocked it. Grappling Sasuke's legs, Naruto twisted the leg, forcing Sasuke to turn the other way. He then swept Sasuke off the floor. Sasuke grunted before he pushed Naruto away and then rocketed back to the other side of the arena. Sasuke has 2 more shots with his Chidori. I have to get him to waste both shots. That would effectively eradicate any possible chances he might win, Naruto thought as he pushed out his hand and a light blue chakra started to spin in his hand, forming a drilling sphere. Sasuke noticed this and almost quickly, the electrical cackling returned and light blue electricity emanated from Sasuke's hand. The two charged at each other, thrusting their hands out. Chidori, Rasengan. A large bang was suddenly heard, and 2 bodies were rocketed from the blast. An high-pitched tone was ringing in everyone's ear. Naruto and Sasuke looked up, seeing ninjas storm the stadium, armed and ready to kill. The war had begun. With Q glanced over at Amaru and then whacked Tuya unconscious. She fell to the floor with a dull thump. She then quickly wrapped a metal wire around Amaru. "Hey! What are you doing, Q?" Amaru shrieked at her. "Shut up," Q demanded as she jumped out of the stadium, Amaru in tow. "I have the last piece for my plan. All that is left is to execute it," Q thought as she dragged Amaru out of the stadium. Through the chaotic events and screaming, no one noticed Q slipped away to the forest of death. This completes the Chunin exams and brings over another arc. Chapter 14, Iwa Konoha War. Iwa ninjas dashed down the walls of Konoha, wave after wave of Jounin's ranked ninjas. Chaotic screams reached the heavens as the massacre began. Naruto glanced over at Sasuke, who glanced back. They nodded and went back to back. "TCH, never thought we would work together again," Sasuke smirked as he broke into a stance. Sasuke's blood limit activated, showing off his 3rd level Sharingan. "Just this once, I'm never gonna do this again," Naruto grunted as he dropped into an animalistic stance. Naruto pumped some demonic chakra all around him, his nails becoming sharpened and his whisker marks become deeper, darker and more feral. The Iwa ninjas then dashed forward, converging on Naruto and Sasuke. Naruto sliced the ninja across the face, leaving blood splatters trailing his knife-like nails. He then slammed his fist into another, knocking the other into a spasm, and finally impaled his hand into final Iwa ninja. Sasuke stabbed a ninja with the kunai, then gutting him and sliced his neck open. Seeing another converging on him, he quickly impaled his kunai into him, effectively stopping the ninjas. Glancing to his right, he glimpsed a ninja coming to him with rock gathered into his fist. Quickly forming the signs, a ball of lightning appeared on his palm as he dashed towards the enemy. The ninja swung his rock fist as Sasuke rolled away to the right, nearly clipping Sasuke's forehead. Sasuke didn't stop, he dashed forward and pierced him with the Chidori. Chidori! The man lay limp in Sasuke's arms as Naruto savagely attacked the rest. "What is your mission?" Sasuke demanded. "Revenge against the yellow flash," the man uttered before he died. Seeing he could no longer gather information from a dead corpse, he stood up and went with Naruto. Sasuke spoke as he attacked the Iwa ninjas. "What?" Naruto growled. "You're the primary target. We have to get you to the evac zone." Sasuke spoke calmly as he broke the ninja's ribs. Naruto grumbled. He didn't want to leave his friends to fight for him, but what else can he do? Everyone right now was fighting to protect the village and also subliminally him, and the civilians who hadn't even been evacuated yet. Naruto vented his frustration into the last ninja, completely crushing the man's skull. Sasuke's brow raised. He's getting more brutal with his kills. Is something affecting him? Sasuke thought. Naruto, sensing Sasuke was watching him, dropped the body and glanced over to the spectators area. "Wait." Naruto walked up the wall and looked among the dead bodies. He saw a flash of red hair and he dashed over. He pushed the bodies off and stared. It was Tuya, unconscious but still live. Her red hair was wet with blood along with her clothes. He wiped her cheek, erasing the blood on her face. He hoisted her up, carrying her bridal style, and then glanced over to Sasuke. "Let's go," Naruto spoke, and they both nodded and dashed out of the stadium. Elsewhere, Tsunade watched as the Jonin's rank ninjas tore apart the civilians, a cold look in her eyes. She dashed forward and threw a chakra-powered punch at the ground. The ground shook, slowly becoming more devastating. "Yamato!" she yelled. The man known as Yamato made a seal, forming wood all around buildings to make sure it didn't collapse. The ninjas were all knocked off their feet, struggling to keep their feet firmly planted on the shaking ground. "Anbu! Evacuate the civilian and then return to launch a counter-attack!" she screamed, and the mask-covered ninjas led the civilians to the evac center. "Rest of us, push them back!" Kakashi barked as he struck the kunai to the Jounins. The Konoha ninjas then broke into a large-scale battle against the Iwanins, pushing them back to the gate. Naruto halted as he saw Tsunade. He gazed at Sasuke, who nodded, and they went to her. "Tsunade, what's the status?" Naruto asked as he watched the nins battle it out. He quickly spotted Yugito, fighting along the leaf nins with Fu. They may have been under the direct orders of the Hokage. His mind drifted to the black-haired Sound Nin. She was most likely taken to the evac center to be treated and protected. "We've successfully pushed them back to the gate, but we still have to eliminate their presence nearby," Konoha Tsunade informed. Something stirred in Naruto's arm. He looked down to Tuya's face. Her chocolate-brown eyes glanced at his and then at the battlefield. Her face sharpened into a scowl and then jumped down from Naruto's arms. She grabbed him and pulled his ear close to her lips. "Q took Amaru," she whispered. Naruto's eyes widened but composed himself and gave her a kunai. "Ahem." Tsunade turned and faced a concerned Sasuke. "We managed to get intel on their priority. Their priority is eliminating Naruto Namikaze," Sasuke spoke. As Sasuke talked on, Naruto couldn't help but wonder where Amaru was right now. "Where the fuck did Q take you to?" "With Q." Amaru lay still, unconscious from the powerful punch the demonic redhead threw. Carefully, Q transferred her chakra into Amaru's stomach, making the petite redhead overflow with purple chakra. She placed a seal and then demonic chakra weaved in with the purple chakra and was then siphoned into her stomach. She held her ground as the wind bellowed wildly from the devastating force of the chakra. Eventually it settled, but the seal on the younger redhead was gone and Q bore a similar mark on her stomach. Feeling all the negative emotions around her, she changed it, making it into dark chakra. Both chakras, red and purple, started to wildly spin everywhere. It settled and she sighed. Things were going perfectly according to plan. Sensing the negative chakra of the Iwanins, she cursed. She needed more time. Making a seal and pushing chakra at the seals that was planted in the walls, she uttered one word: "Kai." With Naruto, boom, Naruto, Sasuke and Tuya were thrown off their feet. Dust gathered everywhere as pieces of asphalt bombarded the ground. Naruto peered through the smoke and his eyes widened. The walls of Konoha, the strong concrete walls, were reverted to nothing more than a pile of asphalt and bricks. Sasuke cursed. The enemy now had the advantage of the full charge of their troops. "Naruto, I'm giving you an A-rank mission. Gather your team and sneak behind enemy lines. Destroy their armory so they cannot enable their tactical movements. Once finished, terminate the captain," Tsunade yelled. Naruto nodded. "Ready yourself," Naruto told his newly formed team. The group left to fulfill their mission. The Iwanins charged, their chaotic screams echoed at the damaged city. The Konohanins gathered behind Tsunade, rallying into one big group. "Charge!" the Slug Princess bellowed. The nins dashed at each other as they all converged in the main street of Konoha. Elsewhere, Naruto leapt from tree to tree, barely slowing down. "Slow down, Naruto," Tuya grunted as she struggled to catch up. Sure, she had been training her ass of the past few days, but when Q had knocked her unconscious, her chakra coils were disrupted, rendering her chakra control nearer to Naruto's standards, which was extremely low. "We can't. The village depends on us to complete this mission or risk it being completely demolished," Sasuke spoke. Naruto merely responded with a grunt. His mood had changed from uncertainty to complete rage. He had returned to his former state, namely labeled by Q as Namikaze state. His once bright white hoodie was completely stained with crimson-red blood. The red streaks in his hair were covered in blood, giving his hair more of a redhead look, but a partial blonde spot blew it away. His jeans were ripped from his battles earlier on. Sasuke was faring much better. His clothes were merely stained with blood and hardly had any scratches, but he did have a large gash across his back, ripping the Uchiha symbol. Tuya was completely covered in blood, her clothes were stained with it, her hair and her pants. She had managed to wipe away blood of her face and hair, but most of it remained. They continued until they reached a camp. The camp was finally built. It looked like they had been here for weeks or months. Naruto growled. They had to get past the guards to access the armory. "Tuya, you still know how to perform genjutsu?" Naruto asked. Tuya looked at Naruto and then nodded. Of course, I never forget jutsus, Tuya responded. Good, I need you to perform a genjutsu, a strong one, to enable us to sneak past these guards, Naruto ordered. Naruto, I'm out of practice, should you know. I cannot place a jounin into a genjutsu for they shall see through it, Tuya explained. I'll help you with that. My eye is more than just something to let see few seconds ahead. It is also infamously known to have high genjutsu ability. Sharingan is very useful, Sasuke spoke out. Don't brag. We have to execute the mission. Sasuke, support Tuya to perform the genjutsu. I'll proceed on my own. I'll detonate the objective and as soon as I'm compromised, release the genjutsu and support me. Tuya, after the genjutsu, proceed to the secondary point Naruto planned. How will we stay in contact? We don't have a radio, Sasuke argued. Naruto sighed, such a bother, but he must let Sasuke into the mental conversation. Stand still, Naruto growled as he forcefully pushed his fingers into Sasuke's forehead and pumped a tiny amount of chakra, unlocking parts of Sasuke's mind and linking their brain waves. Can you hear me? Naruto asked. Yeah, but what was that? Sasuke responded, astonished from what just transpired. A mental communication. We only use 10% of our brains when we are awake, the other 90% is inaccessible. If I pump tiny amounts of demonic chakra to the mind, I can make the mind more aware, making it unlock the full potential. Right now, you are up to 80%. Tuya is up to 89% and I'm up to 94%, Naruto explained as he made hand gestures. Okay, is there a range to this? Sasuke asked. No, when our brains are higher than 10%. Our brain waves increases to the point of higher brain functions, Naruto explained. Ahem, getting off topic. We should get with the mission if you're forgetting, Blondie, Tuya barked. Whatever. Alright. Start the genjutsu, Naruto growled before he jumped down. Sasuke activated his eyes and placed an additional genjutsu on the guards as Tuya supported the genjutsu, trying to hold it as much as she can. So, how'd you meet Naruto? Sasuke asked, a smirk stretching across his face. Tuya glanced at Sasuke before glaring. Don't even try. I only have my eyes at Naruto. Back off, Tuya grumbled. I heard that. Sasuke, you and I are gonna have a talk after this. She's mine and mine only, Naruto threatened. Naruto ran behind a tent, carefully navigating his way across enemy territory. Control point should be to the right, Tuya spoke. Gotcha, Naruto responded. Naruto ducked into a tent, finding the communication links. He quickly placed explosive tags and ducked out. He sneaked across, finding a good decent distance and ignited the seal. Boom! A large mushroom cloud erupted from the middle of the camp. Ninjas fled to the location, scattering to find the person responsible. Naruto stood, ready in a stance, hands interlocked into a seal. He silently activated his demon eyes, but then a resounding ripple vibrated through whole body. Damn, there's something wrong with the demon eyes, Naruto thought. He dodged an incoming blow, and leapt back into the forest. With the eyes deactivated, I'll have a rough time with these jounins, Naruto thought as he frantically pondered a tactic. He dodged right, and then faked left, vanishing behind the trees. Naruto raced through the darkened forest, his chakra draining from the intense amount he pumped to his legs. Sasuke, we can't take them on like this. My eyes are deactivated for the moment, we have to assassinate the captain now. Naruto bellowed. Not so loud, you're gonna break my damn eardrum, Tuya grumbled. Whatever, listen. Proceed north. With the base on alert like this, we can't silently kill the captain, we have to take him on, Sasuke said. Good plan, I'll lose these guys first. Start without me, Naruto said as he turned and sliced at the approaching jounin. Stay safe, Blondie, Tuya said, a slight worried tone in her voice. Always am, Naruto responded before his eyes widened. A slice mark appeared in his cheek, too fast for him to feel the pain. Landing, Naruto engaged in a hand-to-hand combat, fighting off 4 jounins. I won't make it if I keep going like this, I guess I have to use that transformation. Pumping the demonic chakra to his chakra center, he molded and compressed it, making the chakra burn. Dodging the kunai swipe delivered by the jounin, Naruto released the modified demonic chakra into his chakra coils. A red demonic chakra wave blasted from Naruto, blowing the jounin's back. A red glowing circle was branded on his stomach. All of a sudden, lines erupted from it, stretching across his body. A red line ran down his forearm and into his elbow, stopping short. It formed a circle around it and continued to his fist. It made a circles around his knuckles and joints and connected to each other. A line then stretched into his neck up to his right hand cheek, a circle forming in it. His eyes opened, his black pupil was now replaced with bloody red color, his iris changed to pure black. This was a side effect whenever he used this dark and demonic chakra. Earth style, nature's fury. A jounin yelled. The soil in the earth was then slowly wrapped around his arm, coating it with armor-like materials. He pointed his palm at Naruto, who raised brow. Earth style, rock splinters. The Jounin bellowed. Rock spikes were then launched out of his arms at a rapid rate and heading to Naruto. Akuma Shuheki, Naruto shouted as red chakra immediately was launched in front of him, forming a chakra wall, vaporizing the rocks. The Jounin then rushed forward, Rock's arms ready to punch as the barrier diminished. Naruto reared back, arms put into a seal. Akuma no Satiru, Haruzuwamu, Naruto yelled. The chakra then coiled itself into Naruto's arm, eventually disappearing. As it disappeared, Naruto's nails sharpened and then red marks appeared all over his arm, glowing bright red, indicating it was a demonic chakra, giving the Jounin a bad vibe. Naruto caught the fist and countered with a hard right. The Jounin evaded it by ducking and went to sweep Naruto, but Naruto had jumped away. The Jounin dashed forward, clamping his rock-hard palm right onto Naruto's shoulder before flipping over Naruto. As the Jounin landed, he went to deliver a hard right hook, but Naruto had rolled away. As the Jounin was momentarily recovering from his attack, Naruto dashed forward, the marks glowed brightly on his arm as he delivered a hook. Akuma Tsume, Naruto yelled as his right fist was engulfed in red chakra, forming a chakra claw on his fist. Naruto jabbed his demonic arm at the Jounin, impaling the man onto his fist before backhanding the full with his left fist. The Jounin crumpled to the ground, his stomach bleeding out from stab that Naruto delivered. As Naruto whipped to his next target, his eyes glowed pure red. "Who's next?" he asked as he grinned wildly at the few Jounins. Elsewhere. 20 minutes later, Sasuke wildly dashed through the forest, Tuya leading the way. As he watched on, his eyes wandered over her figure. As if attracting him, his eyes latched onto her shapely ass. He couldn't help it, he was a man, he had instincts. So captured by her ass, he didn't see the approaching kick. His eyes widened when pain erupted between his pelvis. "Fucking cocksucking pervert," Tuya bellowed. Even still after her groin kick, he smirked at her. Yup, Sasuke was going head over heels for the girl. "What's so fucking funny? And stop staring at me like that fucktard," she swore. "Nothing, just a private joke," he lied as she glared at him hard. She threateningly raised her fist, shaking with rage, but was halted by a voice. "Don't. We don't want to report friendly fire to the Hokage. She's gonna kick your ass all the way to next week for such a thing," Naruto said as he appeared in a column of fire. She grumbled and then walked over to Naruto. "We'll sort out these personal problems for now. We have a task at hand, to assassinate the captain," Naruto said. "Point-blank attacks would be suicide with someone at his caliber. We have to blindside him. Sasuke, you will perform the killing blow. I'll keep him on me. Tuya, help me via blurring his senses using genjutsu," Naruto explained as he started to unroll a bunch of kunai, each one wrapped in explosive tags. "For now, we shall rest. No doubt that the war stopped in Konoha, they will be gathering the casualties for now. We will strike at 9 o'clock," Naruto said as he started to prepare his equipment. Sasuke nodded and took a gulp of the water he had packed in his bag. He handed it to Naruto, who didn't even took a single glance at it. "No thanks. Not thirsty," he said as he continued checking his equipment. He looked over to Tuya, who was consuming some rations, eagerly devouring it. She glared at him and he decided to put away the drink. Elsewhere. The Forest of Death. A dark chuckle echoed through the trees as a massive influx of chakra integrated upon the dark seal on the earth. A hellish red flaming chakra spiraled around the air, making a portal in the middle. Humanoid foxes jumped through the portal as Q let out a dark chuckle and peered through trees to the skies. "Soon, my love, Konoha will burn and I will personally see to it that everyone will be reduced to ashes," she thought darkly as the demons knelt before her. Chapter 15. Uprising. Day 2. 4:20 p.m. Iwa Konoha War. Naruto sealed his last equipment and glanced out at the dark forest. As far as he knows, no one has crossed into their territory, but since he dropped the shadow clones 30 minutes ago, he wasn't sure if the area was still secure. His thoughts drifted to his kidnapped red-haired teammate, Amaru. Suddenly, remembering their brain link, he quickly conjured a thought. "Amaru, you there?" he asked. No response. "Amaru, are you there?" he screamed. "She's not available right now, Naru-kun," a familiar voice spoke. He gritted his teeth. "Why did you ditch? And why did you take Amaru with you?" he questioned. "Keeping a secret. You'll see soon anyway. After all of this, we will be together, my love," she spoke sensually. The link broke and Naruto scowled. "Friggin' fox," he thought. He put away his equipment and trudged over and woke the others. Tuya woke up with a start with fresh new clothes, a white tank top with a black inside shirt. She had black sleeves on her wrist and just a regular kunoichi pants. Sasuke walked out of his tent, dressed in his standard black Uchiha shirt with black pants. He wore some leg warmers and a metal Anbu gauntlet on his right fist. "We're moving out," Naruto said casually as he stripped off his hoodie and wore a red shirt with a black spiral. He wore a disguised chakra control bracelet on his left fist, a spike band, and had a red elbow paddings on his right hand. He wore simple black pants and red sandals. They all nodded and dashed out, taking their equipment with them. Konoha Village. Things had calmed since the start, but as the sun rose, the Iwanins start to gather once more and the Konohanins readied themselves. Most of the civilians was safe and was being fed with the emergency supply of food and was guarded 24/7 by some of the Anbu task force. As a battle cry erupted at dawn, the ninjas changed once more into the bloody nightmare that would haunt their lives forever. Elsewhere, Naruto halted and gestured over to the small camp, pointing primarily as the target. "Sasuke, wait till he is fully distracted and then proceed with the assassination," Naruto said. Sasuke nodded. "Tuya, go ahead and start the genjutsu as soon as the fight starts," Naruto continued. "Understood." Assassination missions to her were all business. Once grew up was fatal in this type of missions. "Alright, mission is a go," he announced before charging to the captain. The captain was heavily armored with smooth metal plates on his shoulder, chest, hands and feet. He had a large sword which curved slightly right. Naruto appeared in front of him, smirk in his face. The captain smiled. "What is the Namikaze doing so far from safety?" he asked. "Am I just to stand around and wait for my friends to die?" Naruto replied. "Well, thanks to you, you just made my job a lot easier," the captain said as he drew his sword and pointed it threateningly at Naruto. Naruto took out a black and red scroll and smacked his palm into it, popping out a silver sword with black and red hilt. Placing the scroll back into his pack, he gestured over to the captain. "Let's rock." The two dashed, swinging their swords as Sasuke sneaked into position. He knew that the man's sense will be distraught, but that only lowered the difficulty of it. This man made captain of a battalion for a reason. It all came down to his Chidori to finish this. Naruto would have to get the man tired enough so he wouldn't be able to sense Sasuke's rapid approach. Tuya blew into her flute endlessly. She didn't want to fail on her part, especially since Naruto at stake. Naruto blocked the swing and the two swords crashed into each other. The captain threw a large swing, knocking Naruto to his ass. Thinking quickly, Naruto threw his flash kunai in front of him, blasting a blinding white light and slight smoke to him. The captain jumped out as Naruto dashed forward, intent on impaling the man with his sword. The captain slammed his sword down as Naruto went to jab it. Captain struck down Naruto's sword deep into the dirt, stuck as the captain went for another swing. Naruto jumped back and ducked as the captain went for a wide arc. "Now!" Naruto yelled. Sasuke dashed forward, a blur as he sped towards the captain, ball of lighting in his hand. One mistake, he didn't activate the Sharingan. The captain jumped, twisting as he leapt over Sasuke. Realizing what just happened, Sasuke's Chidori was still active and it was heading towards Naruto. Naruto cursed and pumped some demonic chakra to his right hand as he went to catch it. Naruto grabbed Sasuke by the wrist, Chidori mere centimeters from his stomach. The Chidori deactivated as the demonic chakra absorbed it. Pushing Sasuke away, Naruto ducked low as the captain swung. Sasuke had sped out of the area. "Damn asshole, missed." "Plan B?" Tuya asked. "Plan B involves you, very tight latex clothes and a pole," Naruto responded. Was all she could manage as she was too busy fighting a crimson blush that was burning across her cheeks. I wouldn't mind that, but you're getting killed right now, Naruto." "What's your plan?" Sasuke asked. "Same plan," he responded. "No way he's gonna fall for it again," Tuya remarked. "Same plan. I'll give you a 10 seconds window, Sasuke. Make it count cause it will be our last chance," Naruto said. Unarmed, Naruto ducked and weaved out of the swings as the captain continued his assault. As the captain went for a horizontal swing, Naruto clasped his hand on it, stopping all movements. The captain tried to bulge, but out of nowhere, two more clones popped up, repressing the captain by his shoulders. Sasuke dashed out, Chidori ready and Sharingan active. He wasn't planning making the same mistake. Quelch. The clones proofed out of existence and Naruto broke the sword into as Sasuke ripped his left arm out of the body. "Why do you have the Sharingan activated?" Naruto asked as he glanced at Sasuke's eyes. "To make sure I didn't miss twice," Sasuke replied as he brushed away the blood on his arms. "That's what she said," Naruto insulted. "Enough with this, we've finished the assassination. Let's get out of here before the guards show up," Tuya argued as she stopped playing her flute. "Agreed," Naruto said as the three raced between the trees. Seeing a tall tree up ahead, Naruto stopped and dashed upwards, wanting to scout the area first. Tuya and Sasuke raced after him, reaching the top few seconds before him. From what Naruto could see, Konoha was successfully pushing the Iwanins back all the way to the gate when a large demonic chakra surge erupted nearby Konoha. Monstrous screams were heard. Tailed humanoids ripped the ninjas in two and devoured the flesh. Red chakra trailed after the battalion of monsters as they decimated the forces. All ninjas at the front, gone, kill the mortals. A demonic voice yelled as the forces were eaten away. Tailed monsters wrapped in red chakra unleashed jutsus on par with Jounins. Ripping out the telescope from his pouch, he looked through to see the most horrifying creatures he'd seen to date. A humanoid with a fox ears and bloody red fur with black sharp horns protruding from his forehead. Red Long's tails flickered behind them as they raced around, impaling the ninjas with their sharp and hard nails that craved for blood. Even from far away, Naruto knew what each creature was radiating. Bloodlust. Damn it, Q. Chapter 16. The approaching storm. What the hell are these creatures? An Iwa nin screamed as he was struck down. These demonic creatures had broken the tension and had devoured many ninjas for food. As the creatures continued to swarm the battlefield, the Konoha's nins readied themselves. Retreat. Forget the Namikaze Barat. Retreat. The general of the Iwa nin screamed as he fled the field, hoping to make it out alive before the creatures devoured him. The entire Iwa battalions and groups retreated as the creatures looked on to its next targets, Konoha. Getting the entire flock, the entire group of creatures charged the exhausted Konoha nins. Damn, Naruto thought, we have to get to Q. She's the one responsible for this, Naruto said as he ripped away his chakra regulator off his wrist. Sasuke looked over to Naruto, shock plastered over it. Go to Q? Through all these guys? That's suicide, Sasuke exclaimed. Tuya glared hard at him. She had found a way to transport these creatures here. We have to stop her to prevent her from sending more in, Tuya said as she took her side by Naruto. Sasuke bit his lip. That was true, and if he wanted to save the village, he had to go through with it. His motives were clear. He wanted to protect the village and restart the Uchiha clan, but to go to a suicide mission? That was just plain insane. Naruto ripped open the scroll and took out his black gauntlets with red stitching engraved in it. He strapped both onto his arms and then took out his silver katana with red hilt and sheathed it. He pulled on a red sleeveless hoodie and put on his black shirt with an orange swirl. His pants were the traditional Anbu black shade and put on red sandals. Tuya had changed into a dark red shirt in which she ripped off the sleeves, and placed on the black lightweight Anbu gauntlets on her. She had wore black shorts and had bandaged the rest the way down to the red sandals. She wore the Anbu shin armor too. She strapped a silver dagger on her back and held her flute in her right fist. The two stopped and then glanced over to Sasuke. Choose now, Naruto said in a monotone voice. Sasuke gripped tightly on the kunai and then nodded his head. He pulled out a dusty old scroll and palmed it. He was waiting on using this for a while. It showed an entire armor set, complete with a black hilted silver katana. Sasuke put on the silver gauntlets and placed on the silver katana by his waist. He donned a white zip-up shirt with the Uchiha crest displayed proudly on the back, his Shippuden Akatsuki war attire. Naruto nodded to his team. Right, let's rock, Naruto spoke as the three jumped towards the battlefield. The creatures battled on, slicing ninjas in half as they slowly crossed over to the next wave. Kill the mortals. Demonic screams erupted from the creatures. 3 ninjas landed in the middle of the battlefield. A creature dashed for them but was then stopped short as a smoke bomb collided on the ground. Blasting a chakra wave, the smoke was billowed elsewhere, clearing the air. As the creature glanced to the shinobi, Naruto ran up, katana in hand. Now! Naruto screamed. Sasuke dashed out of the tree, katana coated with an overwhelming amount of electricity. Tuya jumped up from the soil, blowing into her flute as she landed onto the ground. Naruto whipped out kunais with tags and chucked them all to the creature's foot. The creature was first blinded by the smoke and felt his senses go haywire as he stumbled around. It ended with an electrifying katana through his torso. Looks like we have to penetrate their hearts to kill them, Tuya observed. Good, now we know where to hit them, Naruto replied as he inspected the wound. We should get moving, we're bound to meet resistance when we go to our destination, Sasuke said. The 3 nodded and dashed away, leaving some befuddled and confused ninjas. With the reformed Team 64, we'll have to keep up our strength. I was pretty sure that was one of their weakest, Naruto said as he chucked the other 2 with glowing lightning blue pills. Sasuke nodded and took a closer look at the pills. This pill is not a soldier pill, Tuya commented. What is it? Sasuke asked. A chakra revival pill, momentarily deactivates chakra points and then re-energizes and overflows it with chakra. I learned the remedy from this scroll, Naruto spoke and took out the red and black scroll, waving it in his hand. Sasuke nodded. I've only managed to create a handful of these pills, so use it wisely, Naruto warned. The 3 dashed forward, unaware of the nightmare they were about to enter. With Konoha, Hokage-sama, we managed to hold off the first wave of the creatures. We were unsuccessful with the second one, Anbu reported as he shushed next to Tsunade. Tsunade frowned. Prepare traps and salvage weapons and munitions, Tsunade commanded. The Anbu nodded and disappeared in a cloud of smoke. She looked onwards at the wreckage of Konoha. I swear, Iwa will pay for this, but for now we have to find a way to eliminate these creatures, Tsunade thought. She turned away as the ninjas retreated. With Team 64, we are getting close to the power source, Naruto noted as he felt the demonic chakra radiate in waves of invisible chakra. I'm feeling sick, Sasuke said. It's the demonic chakra tainting your system. Be careful in releasing and gathering chakra, it may infiltrate your system, Tuya spoke. Understood. Landing, the three teens stood in front of the darkened forest of death. Demonic chakra pulsating from within it. Q is in there, Naruto said. Then that's where we're going, I'm guessing? Tuya replied. Naruto nodded and leapt into the forest, Tuya trailing behind him. Sasuke let out a sigh and slammed his palm down on the dirt floor. A small pug appeared. Tell Hokage-sama that the team has completed the mission and has gone dark. We're trailing after the demonic source, Sasuke said. The pug nodded and disappeared. Sasuke then cautiously entered the forest of death with Naruto. 20 minutes later. Never expected Q to turn this into a fortress, Tuya said as she crawled through the small gaps within the trees. What do you expect? She had tactical advantage right now. We can't see Jack through the trees, the demonic creatures could, though, Naruto replied as he sat silently inside the gap. So we're sitting ducks basically. Precisely, but we'll have to use the trees for cover. We get caught now, we're dead, Naruto replied, eyes gazing into the darkening forest. Sasuke laid asleep inside, relaxed as he snuggled deeper into his sleeping bag. We'll have to get a slow approach. I'll send out clones to scout for patrols in possible locations. We'll have slow progress for now, Naruto explained as he performed a seal and slammed his hand into wood. The large gap was then wrapped over with paper-like branches, blocking the hole out of view. Get some shut-eye. We're gonna need a lot of energy to get there, Naruto spoke. Tuya nodded and shyly walked over to him and slowly eased onto his body. Her head laid on his shoulders and she wrapped her hands around his arm. Naruto raised a brow and then turned away, glancing at the branches and leaves that blocked the entrance. I'll find you, Amaru, I promise. You know what I went through, we both felt the same. If Q causes any more damage, I swear to you that I will take her down and beat her to an inch of her life, Naruto promised. Elsewhere, Q stood on the crimson-red grass, bloody haunting eyes gazing around. She smiled, showing the elongated fangs originating from her gums. She could feel the burning sensation that emanated from Naruto's presence but felt another over it, coating him. Fucking cursing bitch, she thought. Radiating her radar, she felt the cold breeze, very familiar. Uchiha she recognized. She looked over to the demonic creatures and spoke. Kill the Uchiha and the wench. Bring him back here alive, she said. The demonic creature glanced at her and stomped away, disappearing behind the trees in a matter of minutes. She gazed up to the sky, still feeling the burning sensation well up underneath her skin. Soon, we'll watch the ground burn beneath our feet, love. The human armies will fall and we'll ascend to power. Next day. Morning. 0600 hours. Day 2. Sasuke groaned and stood up, stretching his arms and legs. Glancing around, Sasuke smirked as he saw the lovebirds by the entrance. Naruto was leant back, head facing his right, eyes closed. Tuya had her left arm wrapped around his right arm, her right arm placed on his chest and her head placed on his shoulder. Sasuke grabbed his small bag and rolled open a scroll, quickly scribbling down a note and pushed the leaves away, leaving the sleeping couple to themselves. Sasuke leapt across the trees, an objective branded in his mind. As far as he knew, Naruto was the only one able to take Q directly and Tuya was capable of taking on the creatures herself. What would they leave him with? Cleaning the mess afterwards? Fuck no. Leaping silently from the thick branch, he landed onto the leaves, Sharingan blazing. The least I can do is scout the area. Naruto would be wasting his chakra for shadow clones, Sasuke thought. He smirked to himself, there goes his inferiority issue. Thank God it's gone. Sasuke vanished behind the leaves, unknowingly behind, followed by a monstrous red creature with razor-sharp teeth, elongated claws and armor-like skin. Run, pray. You'll be lunch by the end of this day. Chapter 17. Tears of the King. Forest of Death. 0645 hours. Day 2. Blindly slashing, Sasuke leapt backwards, avoiding the clean sword swipe of the bestial creature. Fuck, that would have torn me in half. Sasuke ran it at his mind. His day had started so simple and it led to this. Damn his luck. 0620 hours. Sasuke scoped out the clearing, spying the demonic guards. If things went right, he'd have every location and shift of every creature on the area. Smirking to himself, Sasuke proudly stood up and turned around, leaping away into the forest. All he had to do now was get back. Things are so going his way. Maybe after the war, he'd get some one-on-one time with that redhead. She's cute. Lost in thought, Sasuke didn't register the incoming attack. Pain screamed across his senses as he was launched backwards, foot first into the tree. Sharingan active, Sasuke flicked his eyes up, sighting his foe. It was a monstrous creature with elongated claws and teeth with armor-like skin coating his entire body. His face had a long scar running through his forehead to his cheek. His eyes were bloody red, lusting blood, Sasuke's blood. Shit, Sasuke thought as the creature charged. 06045 hours. Current time. God damn it, Sasuke shouted as he clutched his wound, blood oozing out of his injury. Glancing around, he glimpsed a couple of creatures leaving the combat, heading elsewhere. Tuya! Sasuke thought, panic flooding his system. Running ahead, Sasuke charged them, a lightning ball crackling in his hand. Chidori! Elsewhere. Sunlight bled through the tree, shaking Naruto out of his sleep. Shit, must have overslept. Naruto cursed at himself as he noticed the sun rising above the trees. Feeling weight leaning on him, he turned and saw a bundle of red hair. Amaru? Naruto thought as shock rippled through him. Looking closer, Naruto mentally slapped himself as he recognized the features. Dumb idiot, it's Tuya, Naruto thought. Shrugging her awake, Tuya groggily looked up, her eyes half closed. What is it? She asked. We gotta get going. Tuya drowsily nodded, pushing away the leaves that had gathered on her form. Where to? She asked as she fixed her crimson hair. Naruto glanced outside, feeling the pulsating waves of demonic chakra emanating close by. Sasuke's location, Naruto replied as he gathered his pack. Tuya's face twisted to shock, she could sense Sasuke's chakra surrounded by demonic ones. Going there was suicide. She learned chakra sensing from a friend of hers, Karen Uzumaki, locked away in one of the snake Sanin's base. Her hand snaked out and snatched onto Naruto's, halting his progress. Naruto, if we go there, we might not get to say our goodbyes and... She trailed off as her body shook, terror racking her system as reality crashed down on her. There was thousands of demonic creatures and her chakra capacity could only handle a couple while Naruto was the only one to stop the force. She didn't want him to go off and fight by himself. She was born a fighter, but the terror of death clung onto her, splashing away her courage in an instant. I want you to know that I love you, she spoke, her voice cracking. Naruto felt something tingle inside, a tiny sensation emanating within him. He knew she loved him deeply, but his heart had belonged to someone that was forcibly taken away from him. Amaru, Naruto thought as his mind was blinded by flashes of images of Amaru, her long red hair trailing behind her. Swiping away his thoughts, he forced himself to lean forward and planted his lips on her as his arm snaked around her, holding her close to him. Naruto knew how much Tuya loved him, but he forced himself to kiss her. He knew she wanted him to love her before their possible death, but this was he could give her. The rest was Amaru's. Shock rippled across Tuya's body, but slowly and gently, she slithered her arms around him, digging deeper into the moment. Disengaging himself from her, Naruto let his hands drop to the side, but Tuya strode forward, pushing her lips once more as she held him tightly. Naruto gently pushed her away, moving to the entrance as Tuya recovered from the lip lock. We've got to get moving, Naruto spoke as he clutched the crimson and ebony-colored scroll tightly in his hand, frustration growing within him. Wiping the saliva from her lips, Tuya felt her heart fill with depression. She lusted for his love, his devotion and his faith, but Naruto wouldn't give it to her. Something had already captured his love. However this person was, she'll regret ever having spoken to him. Tuya stood up, bag on her back and her flute on her hands. Okay, let's G. Boom. Blam. Crackling. A kunai flipped in midair and slammed down on the tree, a glowing red seal on it. Naruto's eyes widened as he saw the kunai and twisted around, arms reaching for Tuya. Tuya! Naruto screamed as the tree exploded, splintering the bark everywhere. Sasuke! No! Sasuke screamed as he saw the tree explode. Clutching his injuries, Sasuke lifted himself back up and staggered to the burning tree, brushing away the leaves and branches off him. Damn it, if only I was a split second faster, I could have knocked the explosives away. Sasuke thought as he tightly clutched the kunai in his hand as the memory emerged in his mind. 0652 hours. Sasuke charged the group of creatures, a katana grasped on his hand. Slicing one down, Sasuke ducked as the second one threw a spike at him. Recovering, Sasuke jumped up and jabbed the sword into the creature's head, killing it in an instant. A spike shot through the air, impaling itself on Sasuke's hand. Argh! Sasuke yelped as he dropped the katana. The creature charged, spikes protruding from its hands. Pulling out his explosive kunai, Sasuke wildly launched all of it at the creature. Blocking it, the creature shouted a battle cry and batted a kunai away as the explosives detonated around it. The deflected kunai flew high in the air, its destination the tree. Tuya Sasuke though. Leaping high in the air, Sasuke whipped out two kunai and chucked the first one, missing the target by millimeters. As Sasuke prepared the second one, It landed on the tree and detonated. Sasuke groaned as he clutched his bleeding stomach. Sensing the rapid approach of multitudes of chakra, Sasuke swore and staggered around the burning tree, hoping to find the other two, if they were still alive. Naruto. Pain coursed through his veins as Naruto pushed off the burning wood off his arm. He glimpsed around the burning splinters of branches and leaves as the seal on the kunai seared deep in his mind. That seal was made by me, Naruto thought as he reviewed the memory, desperately searching for a solution. Feeling pain pump through his body once more, Naruto carefully felt around his back as the pain started to slowly rise. Hitting something, Naruto gritted his teeth in pain as he felt the object. He was impaled at the back with a chunk of splintered wood, twice the size and weight of his kunai. NGH, a groan erupted next to him. Naruto twisted his head and glanced down at Tuya's face, her face contorting to discomfort. Hugging her lightly, Naruto did a quick go over her body. Her arms and legs were horribly scratched all over with splinters. Her equipment was still securely stashed on her bag and her head was okay. Seeing nothing wrong with her, he sighed. Carrying her bridal style, Naruto soldiered on despite having a spike embedded on his back. As fire and smoke started to envelop everything around them, Naruto pushed on, avoiding the burning fire as he looked for an escape. Pumping chakra to his leg, Naruto leapt forward, above the fire, above the smoke. Landing on a nearby tree, Naruto remembered a significant detail on the kunai. It bore the Uchiha insignia. Shit, Naruto thought as he painfully took out the spike on his back. As anger boiled inside him as his face twisted to a scowl. Damn Uchiha pride, Naruto thought as he clutched Tuya close. Feeling the demonic chakra converge on his position, Naruto made his signature sign, Kage Bushin no Jutsu. A clone of Naruto puffed into existence and carried Tuya in its arms. Keep her safe, the original spoke as he slowly stood up, blood trickling down his shirt. The clone nodded and leapt away as the demonic chakra reached the original's positions. Naruto glanced at the demonic creatures clinging on the trees and standing on the ground as they all stared back at him. Come with us, we'll ensure your safety. A deep, terrifying voice erupted from one of them. If you're thinking, even if you can, I'm not going down silently. I'm going down kicking and screaming. Oh, we'd make sure you'll scream in pain for hours, the creature boomed at him. Naruto shoved a luminous blue pill inside his mouth as he wielded a silver katana in his right hand and several marbles in the other. Feeling his chakra disappear, Naruto let out a heavy breath. Suddenly, a warm energy burned through his body, re-energizing his chakra completely. Feeling the non-stop flow of the chakra, Naruto charged. He threw multiple marbles on the floor, each one releasing dark smoke on each one. As the area got heavily coated, several trees were heard falling over. Clang, slam, crash. Naruto dashed around, swinging his katana with accurate precision, slicing majority of its target in two. As he made his way across the trees, his radar picked up another chakra signature stumbling towards the fight. His thoughts boiled as he recognized the source, Uchiha Sasuke. So caught up within his thoughts, Naruto failed to retaliate as the demonic creatures thrown a flaming tree branch at him. His thoughts disrupted, Naruto dodged right, his feet scraping against the broken, jagged edges of the branch. Rolling safely away from the flaming branch, Naruto fell to his knees, grunting in pain as the splintered wood edged deeper into his flesh. As pain disrupted his senses, Naruto failed to sense the demonic creature behind him. Crunch. Naruto fell forward, unconscious as Sasuke reached the scene. Elsewhere, Tuya had woken, her senses disoriented as she hugged the clone tightly for comfort. It only lasted seconds as the clone puffed out of existence, leaving her falling to the ground. Thud. Tuya fought off the waves of pain that vibrated across her spine as she slowly crawled across the dirt floor. Damn it, Tuya muttered as she stopped her actions, feeling the numbing sense spreading across her body. She knew the creatures was chasing after her. She had sensed them a while back and she'd hoped the clone had put enough distance for her to be safe, but at this location, she's no better than dead meat. Feeling the creature pick her up, Tuya offered no retaliation as they dragged her back to base, knowing that the queen would prefer to execute them herself. Aside from knowing Q-on exacting her wrath on her, she knows that Naruto will be there. His clone wouldn't just vanish and leave her. She was never one to believe into neither religion nor gods, but right now, she'd prayed that they still had a fighting chance on surviving this. Sasuke, Naruto, Sasuke shouted, attracting the attention of all the creatures around him. Naruto didn't move. His clothes rustled as the creature picked him off and carried him away, leaving Sasuke alone. Feeling the emptiness flowing around his chakra coils, Sasuke offered no resistance as the demonic brute smashed his fist into his heavily blooded skull. Elsewhere, Q0922 hours. The environment was no longer trees and overgrown ferns, all wiped clean, creating a clearing. Grass were buried under by mud and dirt as Q sat patiently at her war seat, its spears protruding around the top with human skulls impaled on it. To her right was Amaru, shackled to a strong beam of her finest metal. Q grinned as she saw her troops trudge back to base, 3 bodies on individual soldiers. The creatures dropped them in front of her, chaining Naruto to the floor while the Uchiha and Tuya were shackled to beam where Amaru had been shackled for days. Her lips curled to her darkest grin, sending a wave of fear across her army. Things were going according to plan. All that was needed was for her king to rise to his throne and join her forever. Naruto, a voice whispered. Naruto's twitched as he started to regain consciousness. Naruto, the voice spoke, more loudly. Naruto pushed himself off the floor, going to his knees. Opening his eyes, Naruto could make out thousands of creatures surrounding him as he glanced around. Naruto twisted his head left, to the source of voice. Amaru. Amaru? Naruto whispered, his emotions erupting in joy as he saw her. She wasn't in good condition. Her hair had grown into a twisted mess, sticking off into different sections. Her face was ghostly pale, making the dried blood stand out. Her clothes was tattered and ripped in different places. Her feet were scratched all over, leaving several marks across her skin. Despite her appearance and situation, Naruto felt happy to see her. Amaru gave a weak nod as steps slowly reached Naruto's ear. Turning his head forward, Naruto scowled as he saw Q, dressed in black attire with a red sash wrapped across her waist as she held a blood-stained katana in her hand. Fist clenched, Naruto went to punch her across the face when his movements stopped as chains rustled. She'd rendered him completely immobile on his arms and feet. Struggling to break the chain, Q gave a soft laugh. "You'll never break those chains, my love. It neutralizes your chakra and disables muscle strength," Q drawled out. "I kinda noticed," Naruto responded. "I'm sure you did, my love, but now, it's time our passion is tied together, so..." Q spoke as she leant down and looked into Naruto's eyes. "Join me, my love, to be my king and ruler of this land. We'll have an eternity to spend," Q continued. Naruto's face twisted blank. To have the power to live forever? To follow Q down that road was clearly going to give him more power than any man ever acquired, and all she asked was for his heart, but he knew where his heart was and it wasn't with Q. Naruto twisted his head left, glancing to Amaru as silence overtook the crowd. Q looked down on Naruto and glanced at Amaru, seeing the invisible connection that linked the two together. Anger rose within her. No one shall deny him of her any longer. She'll have him by her side when the armies of the 5 hidden villages fall, and they'll be together when the world burns. Digging deep into the psychic link she had bonded on both, she clawed her way across memories and eventually, found the one she'd wanted. Day before Chunin Finals. 0251 hours. Amaru glanced out at the moon as it illuminated the dark blue skies of Konoha. She never had the time to sit down and replay the past weeks. With the Chunin exams finals just around the corner, she'd barely got any time to herself as Naruto had strictly instructed all of them to train hard. Her heart skipped a beat as a blush crept across her cheeks as she visualized the red-streaked blonde. It had only been a couple of months since she met the boy, but ever since then, he slowly took over her thoughts. He'd become an important figure in her life, but she didn't realize that it would completely dominate her thoughts. She knew that she developed strong affections for the blonde, but she wasn't willing to accept the idea. All her life, she was denied and rejected, and now, she wasn't sure she wanted to ask, most likely to the pain that came after reaching out. A knock reached her ears, knocking her out of her thoughts. She glanced at the door as the knocking continued. It was 2:51 a.m., who'd be awake at this hour? She opened the door and was surprised to find blue eyes staring back at her. "Hey Amaru," Naruto spoke, his voice rasping. Amaru nodded and Naruto walked in, sitting casually by the bed. Amaru's face turned to worry. Even in the dim light, she could still see the bloody soaked shirt and the angry-looking scar running down his arm. Things were never really the same ever since Naruto took that extra step to rising to power. Day and night, he trained relentlessly to reach his pinnacle of his abilities to the point that he'd basically lived outside. His first day training, he never came back home, and the next day after that and the day after that. She grew suspicious about it and went to the training field to see him lying unconscious on the grass, sweat and blood sliding down his skin and injuries. She came back the next morning just in time to see him wake up. She was expected him to go for food, but he didn't. He swallowed a chirka pill and continued training, viciously pushing his body to the extreme. Amaru walked past the bed and into her bathroom, reaching for the first aid. She wasn't good at chakra healing, but she knew a couple of things on first aid that should be capable enough. Entering back into the room, she commanded Naruto to stay still as she forcefully took off his shirt and started to apply the disinfectant as Naruto watched her, his blue eyes tracing her every move. She threw away the cotton into the bin and started to carefully apply the bandage, rolling it around the wounds as her heartbeat started to increase. Upon finishing, she slowly glanced up, her eyes staring back at cobalt blue eyes. A seconds passed as the two felt their hearts flutter in their chest as they glanced at each other. Feeling that she should break the silence, She bit her lip and spoke up. "It's done." Naruto nodded as her eyes flickered away, glancing out at window. The shades were still up, allowing the moonlight to peek into the dark room. Naruto cupped her cheeks as she went to look away, stopping her actions. The two slowly leant into each other until their breaths tickled each other's senses. Naruto glanced at Amaru, making a silent promise to her. He would love her with all he had. Their lips meshed together, senses overwhelmed with a tingling sensation as they hugged each other close, lost in the passion. Amaru broke away, her lungs devoid of air as she started to pant as she stared back at Naruto. "I love you," she uttered silently, loud enough for him to hear her. Naruto leant in and captured her lips once more, letting his emotions dominate his system. Breaking away, Naruto spoke. "I love you too." Forest of Death. Q Battalion Camp. 0927 hours. Q recoiled in shock as she flung herself out of the memory. As shock grew to rage, her thoughts boiled to one single action. An action that caused Naruto extreme pain throughout his life. Naruto. He didn't know, nor did he longer do. His hatred for the village led to his first real taste of power, but was that much power really worth it? Was it so important to him that he could just ditch everything to gain the ultimate power? Naruto looked up, glancing at Q as her body started to tremble in anger. "You love her, don't you?" Q asked, her tone struggling to maintain a calm, consistent tone. Naruto gave no reply. He knew it was true and he didn't, nor did he want to deny it. Q's eyes glowed red as her rage took control. Grasping the hilt of Naruto's katana, she screamed as she slammed the katana into Amaru's chest and slowly, painfully, twisting it around and jammed it in, hard. Amaru didn't even have time to react as the katana impaled her. She shook as her body was slowly draining of any life it still possessed. "No!" Naruto shouted as he went to charge forward, struggling as the chain's length grew short to the point where he went face first into the mud. Amaru lay still, her breathing short. Her hand reached out for him as life faded from her eyes. "Love you," she uttered before her breathing stopped and her blood started to pool around her body. Tears burned into Naruto's eyes as anguish and despair overwhelmed him. Droplets after droplets, each one becoming closer to each other as Naruto cried. Amaru. That's the end, guys. If you enjoyed, then make sure to leave a comment. This is Chaos Shinobi signing off.